Member FDIC.
1620 The Zone.
Here's Nick Castellanos. Castellanos batting right-handed. The pitch to him. Swung on, hit well. Deep to left field, toward the pole. It is gone! Just inside the pole, down the left field line. The ballpark is in a frenzy. And the 1-2 to Castellanos. Swung on, hit in the air. Blasted deep to left field. No doubt about this one. Into the foot of the second deck, a solo home run. Nick Castellanos has hit his second solo home run of the night, and the Phillies are on top 3-1.
And the left-hander's 1-2. Swing and a miss. He got him. Phillies come racing out of the dugout as Matt Strom has saved it, and the Phillies have beaten the Braves in the division series for the second year in a row. He should have been inside the 20 4 times in this game. Shotgun snap. Near side. Touchdown! Kansas City. Kadarius Toney on the quick out, and the Chiefs finally break down the door and take some nectar.
16, Spencer. 15 pass completions in a row. This will be his last, and it's for the football game. If he can get it off. For the end zone. Tipped. And he caught it. It's touchdown. Holy Toledo. Stephon Johnson does it again. $16 is really sweet 16 tonight.
Live from 50th and Capitol Avenue in the Big O. This is Mornings with Sharp and Handley on 1620 The Zone, 1620thezone.com, and 1620 The Zone TV. Now here's Gary, Nick, and Jimmy.
Hey, guys. Great to see you.
Hey, great to see you as well. If you were at the Papillion La Vista prep game last night, Matt Rule and his sidecar buddy, Ed Foley, out recruiting on a bye weekend. Good morning, everybody. Good Friday the 13th.
That's right.
Woo-hoo-hoo-hoo! Black Cats.
I saw one this morning. I'm not kidding you. Right before I turned on the 50.
Get out of here. Leave.
Yeah.
Leave. Don't bring that bad juju in here.
Every time, usually probably 2 or 3 times a week, when I'm driving up 63rd, there will be a black cat that goes like streaking across the street. Now, depending on how I'm feeling that day, sometimes I will take a right instead of going straight because I am a little bit superstitious. I mean, look what happened to my Cubs in 1969. I remember that vividly. They had the black cat come out of the dugout. Yeah. They were done. But welcome
right by Ron Santo in the on deck circle.
Welcome to Friday the 13th. If you celebrate or if you avoid it, this would be a good day to avoid. Just stay in bed. It's cold. It's rainy out.
How do you celebrate it?
Embrace the weird.
Do you watch a lot of do you just go like Friday the 13th like marathons, or like how does one celebrate Friday the 13th? You just embrace like bad luck?
You're gonna need a second day to watch all of them.
You might watch some of the movies.
Okay.
I mean, you have Friday the 13th, then you have part 2, you have part 3, you have the final chapter, you have A New Beginning, you have Jason Lives, you have The New Blood, you have Jason Takes Manhattan.
Yeah.
Jason Goes to Hell, the final Friday. But no, it was not. There was Jason X. Then there was Freddy versus Jason. And then, of course, the OG. Yeah.
Got Freddy minus 4.5.
Did they ever consider Jason taking the Little Apple as well as Manhattan? Just Jason in Manhattan, Kansas.
No, because Bill Snyder would overcome him with
That's true.
his powers.
That's true. Who's lived longer? Who is more tougher to terminate? Bill Snyder or Jason?
Well, Bill Snyder's 177 years old.
Exactly.
And he looks great.
And Jason, all he does is, he takes everyone's best shot, comes right back.
Bill Snyder, who has been to more KU football games this season than I have.
Hey. He likes a hardworking team.
He's a Jayhawk at heart.
Yep.
Yeah. Take that, all you K-State fans.
Yeah. Sean Snyder has completely changed their special teams. They're good now.
So some people, like on this day, I've heard stories. I don't know anybody super superstitious, but some will not travel. Some will also not get married.
I could see that. I could.
It is a bye week. You can do it tomorrow.
Be down with that. The only thing is, man, if you get married on a Friday or I've even been on a Sunday, and it wasn't even Labor Day weekend, although one of my buddies who did get married on a Sunday and a Labor Day weekend, but it was a non-holiday weekend. Got married on a Sunday. The amount of money they saved, and they had a pretty sweet venue. Oh, that's the way to go.
I got married on a Friday night, and it was we saved a lot of money, like on the venue and then the church.
So I get that.
The church was trying to jab us a little bit for some extra dough.
They do that.
They were hoping, you know what? Hey,
a donation though, right?
We need a school built.
Yeah, it's
would
never
you,
like.
Would you like to pony up?
There's never a tab. There's never like, okay, it's what you owe. It's donation.
Yeah, that's how we do it as Catholics. We never come straight out.
No, it's a donation.
You know what? To be part of this cherished parish, you can even have more of an impact by, you know what, having a desk named after you. Yeah. All right. So welcome in, everybody. It is Friday the 13th. If you celebrate, well, good on you.
Yeah, I don't know anybody who celebrates it.
It also falls in the spookiest month of the year.
Yeah, it does, which is kind of cool.
Well, I embrace today. I expect the weird things to happen.
Well,
good or bad, I don't know.
You know, you don't have a 13th floor. Airlines don't have a row.
True.
I don't know if there's any reason to be spooked, but I'm just giving you some facts, and you can blame it on Loki.
But
yeah,
whose favorite number's 13?
Yeah, it was in the back of my mind.
Okay.
Yeah.
Why?
I like Dan Marino.
Why? That thing's over, by the way. Not the relationship, but the buzz. It's over.
Amazon.
No, Al Michaels.
Al
Michaels.
Al's like, hell no.
Al Michaels killed it last night.
And honestly, it really was. Like, unless I turned away a few times during that game, it was noticeable how few times you saw that.
Yeah, so thank you to Al Michaels for just focusing on the football game last night. That was a really, really bad Thursday night NFL game.
It was a Thursday night.
Quick question on this, because we're going to get into somebody's friend had a really good game. Somebody's husband was really, really bad again. When they do Bronco games, do they show Sierra?
No.
Why not?
I don't know.
Man,
I don't know if that's on request.
They should show Sierra.
Yeah,
I agree.
But yeah, you're
underrated.
Right. They just don't.
Her husband isn't very good. Yeah. That football team is not very good.
No.
That was a bad Thursday night game in Kansas City's offense. But maybe this is the year of, because we're doing it around here with Nebraska and our friends across the river, that this is the year of defense and special teams. Kansas City's defense is really good. They're giving up 13.5 points a game. They were really good last night. Chris Jones is going out and making some money. Special teams is good. I got the best tight end. I got the best kicker. I got the best quarterback in the league. The butt kicker with a 60-yard field goal, and it was no big deal. That's kind of how the football has changed.
That's like Marty Ball again.
50, 60-yard field goals. You don't even go, oh no. It's it's pretty easy. So defense and special teams may be the way to go. And then just go, that offense, we don't want to talk about offense.
Just don't turn it over.
But last night, Kansas City and Covertown did win the game 19-8. But in the football world, boys, we got saved last night because that was a clunker. I don't care if that's my team or not. That was a clunker. I appreciate the defense, I like the special teams, but our attitude towards the Chiefs is built on the offense, and Mahomes hasn't been special, and they got some issues, and his coach wasn't good last night, but they won the football game against a bad football team. But thank you, as you heard in the open, to West Virginia and Houston saving the night of football. 2 touchdowns, last 30 seconds, heartbreak for West Virginia. Country roads are all under construction this morning because of what Houston did last night with the Hail Mary to win the game. That was an incredible finish. Yeah. That is devastating to West Virginia because they scored with under a minute to go. And then Houston's Donovan Smith goes, drop it in the bucket, Hail Mary, Houston wins.
Dana's revenge.
Yeah, and I was tuning into this thing late, and I'm glad I did because I think it was 21-17. I don't know. But the fourth quarter was ridiculous. Was just absolutely ridiculous. And then to get a finish like that too. The brand of football that was going on, it was typical Thursday night football in the NFL though. And I know I was the guy yesterday who said, hey, this is a good game. Patrick Mahomes it's going to set the world on fire.
I said 280 and a touchdown. How close was I? Ready to have a touchdown.
For Mahomes or for?
No, for Mahomes. Oh, no. Russell Wilson didn't even get to 100.
Yeah, Russell's 95. 306.
Okay.
Yeah. 30, 40, 306, 1-1. So not bad. 1 of 5 in the red zone.
But that had to be the wildest 30 seconds of college football this year.
Yeah.
Big 12 late night.
Dark.
Oh, man, that's a huge win for Dana Holgorsen.
I was going to say Dana's revenge.
Well, because his stock, I mean, you think about college football coaches that were red hot and then they jumped to another job. And, his was from a Power 5 to a Group of 5. And now Houston, ironically, is in the Big 12. Like, he was a hot commodity. Mm-hmm. Like, remember, like, the days of Cliff Kingsbury and Dana Holgorsen?
Yep.
And look what has happened. One got fired. One is back in college as hanging out on the USC sidelines.
Mm-hmm.
And then Dana is, like, under some pressure. So they needed that game yesterday. But, God, us football people on Thursday nights, we needed that game. So thank you.
And if you had West Virginia covering, sorry.
Oh,
I thought about picking it.
Have you become a degenerate?
Well,
does your wife know about this?
She does, and she's actually following along our standings in our contest, so she's very happy.
Jimmy's on top right now. Jimmy's on top.
But this is how it starts. See, you did say we'll get you going in this, and here we go.
Oh yeah, you start having some success, and you think, hey, this is easy to do,
and then that's where the success is.
That's why Vegas always wins.
But not this week.
That's okay. I'm coming. Don't worry, boys. I'm at 500. I mean,
it's line in the weeds.
Like the best gamblers win about 53, 54, 55%.
Yep.
All right, so I'm right in the neighborhood with y'all. And y'all, welcome in on a Friday the 13th. It's Mornings with Sharp and Handley. There's Nick, Jimmy, I'm Gary. We've got lots for you. It's a Football Friday Fiesta, even though it is a bye week. Our regular Friday guests will stop by. Brett Ciancia, a good slate of college football. The West Coast going to get some love this weekend. So Brett stops by. Lee Sterling is in. Also, we'll talk now that the Final Four is set in baseball, and it does not involve any 100-win teams. All out
for the first time ever.
So 4 teams that were 90 or below in the regular season are playing in the Final Four. That is great. That is great. You guys can bitch and moan about the format and that the favorites are not there. You know what? It's all about timing.
Yep.
All about timing. Playing baseball at the right time of the year, and those 4 teams set up a very intriguing AL and NLCS. When Dave Raymond, the TV voice of the Rangers, will join us at 8:30. Mike Schaefer stops by at 9, and then Matt Varell at 9:20. I knew that the Braves were done last night before the game started.
Yeah.
When the Phillies decided to go powder blue.
Yeah, the powders. Yeah.
Done.
Yep.
You, Blakey Jake, Josh Odson, you could have said, hey, we had a nice regular season. We flamed out in the postseason.
Mm-hmm.
The Phillies show up for the game to clinch in their own ballpark where it's absolutely bonkers.
Yeah.
They're wearing the powder blues. Game over.
Yeah.
I mean, they kept it dramatic at the end, thinking the Braves would have a chance. But that game was over when guys walked into the clubhouse and the powder blues were hanging up.
I agree. It's the look. And
Michael Jack Schmidt.
Exactly. You think of some of the great players that donned that when that was cool. And yes, I always go with the mustache man himself, Mike Schmidt.
Tug, Steve Carlton.
I still don't. Maybe that's why it does have the cool factor when you don't rock those every game. But if it were me, that would be the home uniform.
Did the Braves choke?
This time I will say no. Only because
second straight year they've been knocked out by the Phillies.
It'd be real easy to say that, but that Phillies team, we've been talking about them. They're a wagon now. So they believe they can win it all.
So here's what I have a thing with. And this is bringing in the 90s Braves, who had the great core on the mound, and they won a World Series.
Yeah.
But we never, and then they got close. We never crushed the Braves of the 90s like we do the Dodgers right now.
Yeah.
Would you guys say the Dodgers choked?
Yep.
Yeah.
Okay, so the Braves didn't choke just because of who they were playing.
Mm-hmm. And
Braves won a lot of games. Braves won a lot of games in the regular season, set a lot of records.
They did. Yes, they did.
It's a good point, though. Nobody really crushes the Braves. All those teams, they won one.
No, but you know what the Braves are? The Braves are the Green Bay Packers under Aaron Rodgers. Early on with the core, they won a Super Bowl title or they won a World Series, and they're competitive every year. And you know what? In 11 months, the Braves are going to be right back here.
Yeah.
I mean, they're just too good. Now, they got to make some changes. I mean, Philadelphia, they shook up the pitching to make sure that they could make a deeper run. The Braves are going to have to do something. They can't stand pat. But to be honest, in 11 months, the Braves are going to be right back here. But yeah, we do treat teams differently. Like Kershaw's getting crushed. Smoltz, Glavine, and Maddox never got crushed to the extent that Clayton Kershaw gets crushed for the Dodgers' inability to add more than a COVID World Series. Yeah, just an interesting parallel.
No, that's a good call. because when they won it, and I remember when the Braves were. There's a reason I think a lot of people became Braves fans, other than the fact that it's either the Cubs or the Braves that you could see regularly on TV. But it was a cool story, when you had that team and you had this out of kind of nowhere, then they're taking on the Twins and they have heartbreak that year in 91. And then, all of a sudden they start to get good there throughout the 90s. And then at my expense in 95, they beat Cleveland. Like, it was always I think it was kind of cool to root for them. I think you always felt like they were sort of an underdog, but then it's fair to, and I was young, probably not to really understand the gravity of it. But now that you kind of think back and you look at like the Dodgers and you think about like the core guys that they've had, and you think about the amount of games that they would win year in and year out, and you go back to the days of the Braves when they would ever fall short, I don't really remember a lot of people giving them a lot of flack. I don't remember them being heavily criticized, and I'm not exactly sure why, but I just remember how people really embraced them when they were coming up, because they weren't an organization that was spending a lot of money. They were just able to kind of keep guys intact, and then they were able to be pretty damn good for a while there in the 90s.
Yeah, do you think it's maybe because, back in the day when old, Walt Sharp and Henry Sharp were sitting together watching baseball on a black and white TV, baseball players were bigger than God. I mean, they were generational talents that had this aura. We don't have that anymore in the game of baseball. That kind of shows you where baseball has gone. But also, I think kind of part of this might be, listening to what you just said, Nick, is back in the 90s, think about this in our sports. Back in the 90s, we talked more about the team than individuals.
Yep.
Like, we talk a lot more in the last decade plus in sports about just individual players over teams. So it's not the Dodgers, it's Kershaw. I don't remember ever going, well, that Maddox. I mean, no, Maddox, Glavine, and Smoltz have their place in the game of baseball. But we never really focused on individual players back in the 90s. We focused on the team, where now we've shifted, where we talk more about individual players than the team as a whole. Like, we'll talk more about Mahomes than the Chiefs, if you get what I'm saying. And that might have to do a little bit with it, but that's always just an interesting.
Is it because of the money?
We say the Dodgers choked, but the Braves, you know what? They had the core. They got one title.
Like, I can remember the Braves core. Like, I remember Mark Lemke. I remember, Smoltz, Glavine, and Maddox. I remember Javi Lopez.
But disrespecting Glenn Mother Hubbard, Rafael Ramirez, Bob Horner,
Sid Bream,
Chris Chambliss,
Blauser. Like, I remember those guys, but I could not tell. That's one of the first guys I mentioned. Great second baseman. I couldn't.
Screw Mark Lemke. he effed over Mark Pryor.
No, I'm sorry. Otis Nixon. What about it? Otis Nixon. But anyway, I couldn't tell you what those guys were making. I couldn't tell you what their salaries were.
Guess the age on Otis Nixon.
87.
He looked like 87 when he was in the 90s.
Yeah, it's like Sparky Anderson.
I bet
There's a guy that does not age.
No.
He looks
Perry Ellis.
Well, last picture I saw, Otis looked the same.
Yeah. Hey, looks like he'd
still get you a leadoff double.
But I don't remember what those guys were. And again, when I was that young, I probably didn't care as much, but I didn't know what they were making. I didn't know what the financial situation of that team necessarily was. And now I think that's what we associate a lot of people to in all of the sports. And when we look at what's Kershaw making, when we look at what Mahomes is making, and when you get into those moments, and if you see those guys underachieve, I feel like whether it's fair or not, we hold that against them, because you're paid for these moments. How many times do we hear about that? And with all of the commentators now, that you hear so much about, okay, this is why they brought him here and why they brought him here. And then you usually find out how much they paid for him to be here or how much they paid for him to stay here. And when you underachieve, I feel like that all of a sudden kind of removes the team element from it and kind of puts a lot of the focus on the individual. Now, people older than me that remember those teams in the 90s, even your Dallas Cowboys, you remember those teams in the 90s. I don't know how much.
Thank you, YouTube.
I don't know how much, people, again, maybe in their late 40s, 50s, even 60s, remember how much of the financial situation was discussed. But I do. I feel like that's kind of a reason we talk more individuals these days than we do the teams.
Didn't we even do that with college football? Like
I think so.
I mean, we're a little bit, we're skewed around here because we covered the program or we were part of it. But even like the Florida State Miami teams, who had incredible characters, it was still mostly about the team.
Yep.
And now we shifted to kind of individuals.
Now it's like, well, Travis Hunter play tonight.
I'd agree because I think the team was the brand before that, and now the individual. And the individual's kind of, now it's the individual brand a little bit more too. And I just think that's where athletes in general have kind of shifted in society where, you'd always look at the U. Okay, you wouldn't necessarily like Michael Irvin on Miami or Michael Irvin's Miami team or Vinny Testaverde's Miami team. Like you just knew him as the U. You knew him as that brand. Like if you said even before the SMU scandal, you knew it was the Pony Express. That was a team thing. That wasn't necessarily individual. You knew the guys that were involved. You knew the guys that were part of it, but it always started with the team. Now, again, I think just where we've shifted in athletics at a lot of different levels is that individual brand. Social media is a big part of that. Now in college sports, now you have NIL being a big part of it too, where it does really kind of, I think, narrow the scope more on the individual than it does the team.
All right. Coming up, the great lineup we have that's brought to you by the referees at John Higgins Weather Guard. Also, 1 week from today, a guy whose concert tour is called Mr. Saturday Night is going to perform on a Friday night in Omaha. We have a pair of tickets to give away to John Party.
It'd be awesome.
Listen to a little John Party. He's got very much he's been very much a straight shooting cowboy. Starch shirt, big belt buckle, big country voice. He's got a couple of hits that have rolled out here in the last couple of years, but he's coming to Baxter Arena next Friday night. But he'll still call his world tour Mr. Saturday Night.
First John Party song I ever remember hearing that. I'm like, I like this song. I was at a Cubs game of all places.
Yeah.
Kyle Hendricks came out to Dirt on My Boots. I'm like, hey, this is a good tune.
All right, so if you
I have my phone up, Shazamming.
We've got a pair of tickets that we're going to give away a little bit later in the show. He'll be at Baxter Arena, where tonight Omaha hockey kicks off the season. We're going to talk expectations this morning, not only with Omaha hockey, but Nebraska football in the last 6 games of the regular season as they enjoy a bye week, and all of you enjoy your favorite outdoor activity or cleaning the house or doing what else you'll be asked to do before we have this 6-week run to the end of the regular season of college football. So good luck to all the men and women out there of whatever you're doing this weekend, because you're going to be wandering around a winery or a pumpkin patch, and all the guys will look at each other and you'll all know, yeah, we should be in a stadium or in front of the. You mean you want another $45 turkey leg?
Turkey leg.
Why not? Why don't we get 2?
We can make it at home.
All right, you can join the conversation. What are the expectations? Like realistic expectations for Nebraska football in the back half of the regular season. You've seen 6, you get 6 more. That includes, let me just roll this out for you. Northwestern, Purdue. Purdue plays Ohio State this weekend. Don't think Rondale Moore is coming back to play for Purdue.
No.
And I don't think Ohio State will look ahead to Penn State. So keep a close eye on that game. And then you have Michigan State, which, by the way, has Rutgers this weekend. In the scope of things, probably not a game that's going to register. That's a pretty damn important game for Michigan State. You know, they're 2-10, and a lot of this is under tuck. They're 2-10 in their last 12 Power 5 games. And do you know that they've lost 9 of those 10 by double figures?
Yeah,
what happened to Michigan State football?
It's a stark contrast from that 11-win season in 21.
So I just gave you the next 3 games for Nebraska. You give me the expectations for the final 6. We'll do all of that. 951-1620. That is the number to get in. It is actually free. Just pick up your phone, 951-1620, and you'll talk to Jimmy. It'll be on the 1620 The Zone hotline, powered by 42 Degrees, the source by your mom's house. You can also email us, as some of you have already done this morning. Good morning, Terry, Frank, and Dean. Dean just emailed me a picture. I don't know what this has to do with Dean. I'll try and figure it out. It's in the Equitable Bank inbox. Gary at 1620thezone.com.
Handley at 1620thezone.com.
And on the J-Tech Construction Zone Twitter feed at Gary Sharp 1620.
At Nick Handley 1620.
All right, off and running. Football Friday Fiesta. Brett Ciancia in an hour. USC, Notre Dame, Oregon, Washington. I think that people in Corvallis feel Oregon, Washington has replaced the Civil War. That's what happens when you change the name and you try and be politically correct. Extinction.
Yeah.
Do we know is Tony
I don't want to.
Tony Petitti going to be there? Greg Sankey was at OU, Texas.
Yeah, I don't think so.
No,
I think that's probably one you want to avoid.
Oh.
He goes incognito.
Just take a look at the future.
I think the one that would get people is if he showed up at USC Notre Dame.
Oh.
All right, 34 past the hour. It's Mornings with Sharp and Handley on 1620 The Zone.
Mornings with Sharp and Handley on 1620 The Zone and 1620thezone.com with Gary Sharp and Nick Handley. Omaha's most listened to all sports radio station. Again and again and again. 1620 The Zone.
We created a simple PDF that gives you everything you need to know about branding, designing, and building a website that increases revenue. Download the website playbook for free at jmonline.com. If you're considering a website project but not sure who to hire, go to jmonline.com and download the free website playbook. It's a guide to a high-performing website. That's jmonline.com.
Bring smiles to all when shopping online with Dell Technologies Gift Guide. Whether it's for the artist, the entrepreneur, the student, or the streamer, you'll find the perfect gift for everyone on your list. Dell.com/gift guide makes gifting easy with a carefully curated selection of our best tech. Shop now to explore our innovative PCs like the XPS 13 laptop, powered by the latest Intel Core processors, plus this season's top accessories. Visit Dell.com/gift guide today to get a jump on your holiday gift list. That's Dell.com/gift guide.
John Party. That's why they call me Mr. Saturday. Mr. Saturday Night World Tour. Friday, October 20th, Baxter Arena. With special guests, Midland, Ella Langley, and DJ Hymax. Got a little dirt on my boots, but I'm taking you uptown. John Party. On sale now at Ticketmaster.com. Don't miss John Party Live.
Texting enrolls you in recurring automated marketing text messages. Consent not required to purchase. Message and data rates may apply.
Leaving for the gym so early?
I'm ready to go.
Since you started taking Nugenix Total T, you've been acting like when we met in our 20s.
I feel like myself again. Lower testosterone after turning 40 slowed me down. Nugenix Total T has been a game changer for me.
What is it about Nugenix Total T that's different?
Well, it's a patented key ingredient called testofen. It boosts free and total testosterone to help you get back the drive and energy from your youth. It's backed by 5 clinical studies.
I've seen the huge difference it's made for you in the gym, at work, and in the bedroom.
I'm so glad I sent them a text for my complimentary bottle. Text ALL to 42424 right now for your complimentary bottle of Nugenix Total T. Nugenix is the #1 selling testosterone boosting brand at GNC and Walmart's. Do it now, and we'll also send you a bottle of Nugenix Thermo X, our newest, most powerful fat burner ever. Absolutely free. Text ALL to 42424. That's ALL to 42424. Products and statements have not been evaluated by the FDA. These products are not intended to diagnose, treat, cure, or prevent any disease or illness.
Yep, I'm looking at the pages right now.
Thomas's translation company just lost its only 2 Spanish speakers. Without the right replacements, he'll be in problemas.
Yeah, we'll have those ready. Tonight's going to be a late one.
Indeed can help him hire great people fast.
I need Indeed.
Indeed you do. With Indeed Instant Match, we immediately show you quality candidates whose resumes on Indeed meet your sponsored job description. Visit Indeed.com/credit and get $75 towards your first sponsored job. Terms and conditions apply.
Texting enrolls you in recurring automated marketing text messages. Consent not required to purchase. Message and data rates may apply.
Leaving for the gym so early?
I'm ready to go.
Since you started taking Nugenix Total T, you've been acting like when we met in our 20s.
I feel like myself again. Lower testosterone after turning 40 slowed me down. Nugenix Total T has been a game changer for me.
What is it about Nugenix Total T that's different?
Well, it's a patented key ingredient called testofen. It boosts free and total testosterone to help you get back the drive and energy from your youth. It's backed by 5 clinical studies.
I've seen the huge difference it's made for you in the gym, at work, and in the bedroom.
I'm so glad I sent them a text for my complimentary bottle. Text ALL to 42424 right now for your complimentary bottle of Nugenix Total T. Nugenix is the #1 selling testosterone boosting brand at GNC and Walmart's. Do it now, and we'll also send you a bottle of Nugenix Thermo X, our newest, most powerful fat burner ever. Absolutely free. Text ALL to 42424. That's ALL to 42424. Products and statements have not been evaluated by the FDA. These products are not intended to diagnose, treat, cure, or prevent any disease or illness.
Don't miss this week's Zone Deal.
This week's deal is from Scary Acres, voted the #1 best haunt in Omaha by Best of Omaha since 2019 and #1 best haunt in Omaha by the Omaha Choice Awards. This deal includes 2 super combo passes to get you into all 3 attractions for just $30. Scary Acres, 172nd and Giles. Pay just $30 for 2 super combo passes this Friday at 9 a.m.
Zone deals go fast. 9 a.m. Friday, 1620thezone.com. Now back to mornings with Sharp and Handley on 1620 The Zone.
I won't dwell on this because Al Michaels has taken away the buzz of Kelsey and Swift. Thank you.
Thank you, Uncle Al.
By the way, he was really, really good last night. Man, he was great. And then some friggin' Bronco rolled up on him at the end of the game. I don't need that. But how would you like to be Brittany Mahomes? Last year, you were trying to avoid hugging your brother-in-law.
Yeah.
And now you're hugging Taylor Swift. That's a hell of a trade.
Yeah. It's good trade.
Where is the knob that is Jackson Mahomes?
Yeah,
at?
when does he enter the conversation with them?
Well, especially now that Taylor Swift's a part of this. Like, you know what that could do to his Instagram following? Oh, my God.
Well,
Wait till
okay.
Taylor starts tailgating.
She's the most impactful person in the country. There is no doubt. What she was wearing last night is from Erin Andrews' clothing line.
Oh.
And they said once she was shown in that vintage Chiefs jacket, Erin Andrews' website almost like shut down because there were so many people that were going to try and buy that or buy other items.
How many?
So congratulations to Erin. She had a good night last night.
Yeah. How many of the? I know we don't want to talk about it a lot, but how many of the Swifties start to take it to the extent of bringing it to Arrowhead Stadium, where they're trying to gobble up tickets now?
Oh, they already have. Have you not? Yeah, like after the first time she was there, they were buying tickets and they're buying Chiefs merchandise. And
I knew the merch.
Jerseys.
Yeah, I knew the merch was
tickets.
Up big time. I didn't realize that the ticket part of it was that, because that's where I was curious if they're really going to go all in and they're going to be there, even if she may not be at a game, that they would still be present to support.
Oh yeah, that was
her boy
right away. The Chiefs saw an increase. No, the third party ticket sites or second party, whatever. Saw like an increase.
Okay. Because I knew the merch. The merch is up 400%.
The Swifties are like, so they bring these barbecue grills and they cook before games? What else do they do?
Exactly.
Well, hey,
how do they spend that?
Just thank you to Al Michaels last night for treating Taylor Swift like a vegetable. Thank you. You killed the buzz. Brett Ciancia, Lee Sterling coming up in the next hour. The weather, windy and cold tonight.
Yeah.
We got 2 major high school football games in town. Last night we had some games that were moved up. Where I was at, it rained, but we had no severe weather. How about this little note? And I knew this because I've seen him play a couple of times, and I'm a big fan of Tim Williams, what they're doing over at Papillion La Vista. They won the district championship last night. They beat Prep. Prep's going to be in the postseason as well. But Monarchs are 7-1. First time they won a district title since '96.
Wow.
Well,
I remember that one. I was the one I was talking about yesterday.
Because you have like there's 2 wild stats out there that Papillion La Vista, hasn't, of course, won a district title since '96 until last night, and then Millard North hasn't had a winning season in a while. Now Millard North, unless they make a long run in the postseason, won't have a winning record. But watch out for Papillion La Vista in Class A. There's those teams like Omaha West Side is by themselves. Millard South is really good. I just don't like their matchup tonight against them. But then there's like that next 2B tier of some really good football teams in Class A, Papillion La Vista, Millard West, Omaha North, Elkhorn South, that are all right there, that are very alike. That will be interesting in the next 2 weeks in terms of points to avoid the side of the bracket that has Omaha West Side. But Papillion La Vista is legit. Peyton Prestito had a monster night last night. They've in 5 years under Coach Williams, they built that program up. They got a really good strength conditioning program. And most importantly, I know this is crazy to say, but this is the world we live in, has been able to retain guys. Like they have guys now that have been in the program for 2-3 years, not one and done, and they've gone somewhere else. So watch out for them. That was I thought they'd win last night. I did not see 34-7 coming.
Did I see that right? They had not beaten Prep since 2006?
No.
Wow. That's crazy.
Yeah, they're a good team. They're a really good team. They got quite a few dudes on Papillion La Vista. All right, 44 past the hour. I said going into the break, and this is the morning we'll talk about expectations on a bye week. What are the expectations for Nebraska football in the last 6? So you can give me the record. You can give me what you want, whatever you'd like to do. Zach says worst case expectation 3-3, best case 5-1. Is 5-1 easy to see?
No.
You know, me, I'm just Northwestern, but we're playing this exercise here. Is 5-1 hard to see, or is 5-1 you could make a case that Nebraska could go 5-1?
It's tough for me to make that case.
Yeah, I can't do
that. The games that I would look at are really the last 3 games of the season that I would say Maryland going into the year. And the thing about Maryland is they always, especially with Talia Tagovailoa, they put up offensive numbers, but man, their defense is actually not bad this year. I mean, that's the thing about Maryland is there's some resistance there.
By the way, do you know Maryland is like the 4th, like they're number 4 in the Big Ten. They're 15-6 in their last 21.
Yeah, quietly.
They don't really tell people that they've been
in the Big Ten.
Yep.
It's true. Their basketball fans don't want to be in the Big Ten.
No.
But I regress.
That one obviously is, I think it would be far more of a challenge than I think maybe looking at the preseason prognostications of, oh, hey, Maryland at home. No, it's not Michigan. It's not. I mean, you already went through that. So I wouldn't say that there's no way. That one concerns me with what they do on both sides. And then I think Wisconsin, and this is going to be a very telling weekend too with Wisconsin and Iowa, but you started to see Wisconsin kind of figure things out. Even, the Friday night victory they had over Purdue, then they go on the bye week, and they kind of messed around with Rutgers last week, but they get off to a good start. I'm still wanting to get a better feel for Wisconsin, but we've talked about it. Braylon Allen is now much more part of the mix. There still is a passing element. Defensively, they're okay. Iowa, that I think is gettable. Out of those 3, I have more confidence in Nebraska's matchup against Iowa than I do Wisconsin and Maryland. But I do have confidence in Nebraska's first 3 out of the gate. So as much as I don't necessarily feel 5-1 is reasonable, I think 4-2 could be. I definitely think 3-3 is. Definitely think 3-3 is.
But will you completely ignore Wisconsin? So whoever wins in Madison tomorrow, and I can't wait to watch a 10-3 game. I'm actually really, really excited to watch whatever's going to go on in Madison.
What was the score in 15? Wasn't it something like that? It was like 9-6.
Unfortunately, one team had to win. I don't remember.
The one that was the year that Iowa ran the regular season table and lost to Michigan State in the Big Ten championship game.
All you know is that the total right now is 33.5. Last year, Army Navy was 32. And remember, there was an Iowa Northwestern game. It's 31.5. But here's for degenerate Jimmy. The total has gone under 3 straight times in Iowa, Wisconsin. But we kind of really haven't talked much about Wisconsin. That loss to Washington State, but they've definitely like flown under the radar as the perceived favorite in the West.
Mm-hmm.
You looked at their numbers in terms of offense, Gary Raid offense.
Not off the top of my head.
It's something we all strive for. But what do you were talking about their offense earlier? What's you're not a fan right now of their offense?
No, the offense. It's actually I feel like what they were doing early, where it seemed like the passing game was kind of out of sync. Now it seemed like they kind of went back to a little bit more bounce with the running attack and being a bigger part of it. And that was even before Ches Malusi. That was what I saw. Now, as far as their numbers, I'll have to pull that up here. But, yeah, like offensively, like what they want to do, what people are like, oh gosh, they're going to turn into, this unrecognizable Wisconsin offense. Like, I don't really necessarily see that right now. Okay, so yeah, they're sitting there 5th in the Big Ten right now.
No, you know what they are? They are really balanced. So they run for 204 a game. They pass for 210.
Mm-hmm.
And we all kind of want that.
Yeah, 413 a game.
They've been completely ignored. They don't have like any real big games that have been like in the big nude kickoff slot. Their biggest game was in a quirky time out in Pullman, Washington. But tomorrow is like the stage, and people will watch and they'll go, "Oh God, this sets football back." And I'll say, "Welcome to the Big 10 West." You just get here. Yeah, Wisconsin to me seems like really ignored. But if they win tomorrow, what are we doing here? I mean,
it's theirs.
They're going to be the sacrificial lamb for Michigan in Indianapolis.
Yep,
is what it becomes. But hey, they're about as balanced as can be, and everybody would take their balance. 204 rushing, 210 passing. Take that every day.
Well, and they weren't really under the radar to start the season. And I think obviously a lot of that had to do with Luke Fickell, and a lot of that had to do with just the intrigue there. And I think a lot of people were more curious about how this identity that we knew that Wisconsin had, how would they sort of look now with a coach and coaching staff that wants to do things a little bit different? Would they continue to tap into their identity of being very physical up front? But then remember, it's just like the Washington State loss. That was obviously a game that we were like, whoa, what happened? But then we realized, hey, Washington State's not bad. But even like if you watched like their season opener against Buffalo, they were kind of underwhelming. Isn't
that the story of college football?
Maybe
a team or two,
and it is. And I think, but so
everybody
early on,
underwhelming. Yeah. They win, but they're not. Is this the on a much different level, the Georgia principle?
Yeah,
they win, but they're not. But then they have that one game where they just destroy an opponent, and you go, yeah, that's why they're the number one team in the country.
Yeah, and I think the road victory, that Friday night game against Purdue, where they really handled Purdue, especially like pulling away there late in that game, I thought that was actually something to keep note of. And then again, last week, you get out to the 17-0 lead, and then you kind of mess around in that game. But I mean, Rutgers is kind of pesky too. So I understand where people have like, once they lost to Washington State, and I'm talking about like the national media who was, high on Wisconsin to see how good they could be, maybe kind of turn the page a little bit on them. But as far as, how the Big Ten goes in the Big Ten West race, yeah, I think once they did that against Purdue, you realize, okay, they're fine. They're probably more of what we thought they would be in that division. And then you kind of take inventory of that division period and say, yeah, I think Wisconsin is still probably the front runner.
So here's my expectations for Nebraska football. Last 6 games. Again, they are never going to have a 3-game stretch like this, where they have 3 winnable football games, and you don't even like blink. Don't give me East Lansing. It's Michigan. I just told you Michigan State's 2-10 in the last 12 in Power 5. The only thing Michigan State is doing right now, they offered Chase Lofton of Elkhorn North a scholarship yesterday. Other than that, it's basketball season in East Lansing. So Nebraska needs to take advantage of this opportunity. If you want to say, hey, man, what we did against Illinois, how we won a game, I don't care how we won. We needed to win. We hadn't won on the road. But, hey, by the way, we've won 2 of the last 3 in the division on the road. You won a football game. Is that a catalyst to jump you to the next 3 games, which if you punch your ticket in the next 3 games, you're going bowling. We haven't gone bowling since 2016. I don't know if you know this or not, but Pete Weber is not bowling anymore. He was back in 2016. Okay? So things have changed. Minimum expectation, Nebraska needs to extend their season in December and take advantage of this opportunity. They have had a lot of opportunities throughout this Sahara Desert football that they have never grabbed onto. This is a prime opportunity. Expectation, extend the season in December. Now, the only other expectation I have, because who knows, this season could, it's been already turned upside down on one side of the ball, is you got 6 games to figure out your quarterback room. You got 6 games to figure out where Heinrich Harburg fits, how he runs in the offense, and then it's now or never for Jeff Sims. If Jeff Sims looks exactly like Jeff Sims looked in his first 2 starts, you can't convince me, the guy in the corner, that he is going to be okay for 2024. And then what happens with Chubba Purdy? If I'm Chubba Purdy and I've been here for a while, and it doesn't look like I'm going to get an opportunity, I mean, am I a potential grad transfer where I wouldn't have to worry about a waiver? So you've got 6 games to figure out your quarterback room. Those are my 2 expectations, and I'm just going to stop right there.
My expectations, I hate doing this because it is putting Nebraska in a bowl game for a team that hasn't been there, but you cannot ignore what they have coming out of this bye week. 3-3. And I don't think that is, oh, what the hell? You're drinking the Kool-Aid? No, not at all. Because you could make an argument. Games. Yes, you can make an argument. And I think, again, off of what you've seen, that they could even go as high as 4-2 in that stretch. But I feel like 3-3, given the limitations with the offense, sort of the back and forth play with the special teams, that would maybe halt my overall ambition of going beyond 3-3. 3-3, though, gets you to the bowl game. So, and this isn't. I don't think this is a referendum of Matt Rule either. I don't want to make it sound
referendum. Wow, you're harsh. So you're the one behind FireMattRule.com.
No, but I don't want to make it sound like if they don't do that, then all of a sudden, we've been sold this awful bill of goods and Matt Rule is not who he says he is. No, because you already see the limitations. I'm not trying to make built-in excuses or anything, but I don't want to make it sound like, well, it was always going to be bowl game or bust for Matt Rule in year number 1, because clearly you can see some cracks there that they need to address. Quarterback is one that I think is going to constantly be viewed these next few games, because I feel very confident that Heinrich Haarberg is your starter going forward. But I also feel very confident that they're not just going to revisit the Jeff Sims discussion in the offseason without having some type of presence on the field in games that are not, I don't know how many will exist, but games that are not out of hand. You mentioned Nebraska desperately needs a blowout against Northwestern. Yeah, sure, they do. But if Jeff Sims gets in, late in that game, is that going to be any type of indication of what he can really do? So I do think you're going to see Jeff Sims at some point.
So you're saying that we don't really know what Haarberg the first 2 weeks could do because he was playing against Group of 5? I think anytime Jeff Sims is on the field from here on out, we'll know what we're getting. I don't care if you're playing me, you, and Jimmy.
I don't know, because if the pressure isn't as great.
Oh, and the pressure. Don't you think, Nick, though, the pressure is huge on that kid? This is
okay.
Hey, he could lose his job.
Yeah.
And this is his college career. Essentially, the last 6 weeks is Jeff Sims' college career.
Yep.
Maybe the pressure was the wrong thing to say. The moment of the game that he comes in, and you're right. He's probably going to be feeling it no matter what. But when the moment of the game isn't as huge and the game is a little more further in doubt, or not in doubt, sorry, that I just don't feel like it's the same type of measuring stick as it would be if he's, say, playing in the late in the first quarter or in the second quarter where the game is within a score or two. Let's say he comes in. Okay, we'll use a hypothetical. Say Northwestern and Nebraska. Nebraska's up by 20 in the fourth quarter, and Jeff Sims comes in. Northwestern's starting to sub out a little bit, and Jeff Sims plays well. I don't know if I would be walking away saying, okay, now that's the Jeff Sims that we want to see. That's the Jeff Sims that he is. That's the guy that he can be. And all of a sudden, you've got a discussion going into the Purdue game. I would still be like, okay, I'd like to have seen that in the first or second quarter. I guess that's what I'm trying to say with anytime you use him. It's a very important part of it. Important, like the remainder of the season, important as far as that evaluation. I would agree. I go back to, I feel pretty confident that it's got to be out of the transfer portal, that guy is not here. I nothing that I've seen to this point with Heinrich Haarberg, and more limited on Jeff Sims, nothing that I've seen makes me even entertain the thought that one of those guys is your starting quarterback next year.
Here is Jeff to wrap up the hour on the 42-degree The Source Hotline. Good morning, Jeff.
Good morning, guys. Great discussion. I probably have a completely contrary opinion to everything you guys have just said. I believe that Jeff Sims will not only get playing time against Northwestern, Jeff Sims will be the starting quarterback against Northwestern. He had a rough start, a new environment, new coaches, new system, on the road against Minnesota, on the road against Colorado. It doesn't reflect his ability to play the game or to play quarterback. Heinrich Haarberg has been a wonderful substitute for Jeff Sims, but let's slow down on the Heinrich hype a little bit. I love the kid. but he's not the starting quarterback. If you want to talk turnovers, Heinrich's been fortunate that several interceptions have been dropped.
Mm-hmm.
But a couple of them against Minnesota in the last drive of the first half could have been pick sixes. Heinrich has done a great job. He's a warrior. There's no question. And he's from Nebraska, so everybody loves him. But fortunately, the state doesn't coach the football team. The coaches coach the football team. And I think Matt Rule has a very solid long-term plan. After Purdue, you have 5 games left in the season where young kids can start to play and still maintain their eligibility for the following year as freshmen. I think the future is incredibly bright. And as far as the rest of the games go, I would be very disappointed if we didn't go 3-0. And I know this is going to sound ridiculous, but by the time you get to Maryland and Wisconsin, after the offense gets settled, you don't know what kind of team we might have. There's a shot. They get by Maryland, we could win out. Chances are slim. We could also lose them all, but we could also win them all. So I'm not dead set on making dire predictions about 3-3 or 4-2. I say let's let the season play out. Let the coaches coach, and see what we get, and look forward to next year as well because it's on the rise.
Jeff, thanks for the phone call. Have a great weekend.
But that's no fun to do. Just sitting back and saying, all right, let's just let the bye week play out. Let the coaches coach. We got to look in the future. That's what we have to do.
Nebraska will need a contribution from Jeff Sims before the season's over. Mm-hmm. Whether it be a series, a play, a game, a half a game, whatever, they will need a contribution from Jeff Sims before the season is over. And if they are not in that scenario, I don't know how you know anything about him that you don't already know. So I got 6 games to figure out the quarterback room, but we're trending. I mean, people might be laughing at us. We're trending towards being disappointed if Nebraska doesn't go 500 in the second half of the season as well.
Yeah, totally.
It's okay. And I want to be right because I was 6-6 guy.
I was 7-5 guy. I will agree with Jeff though. I think I would have a tinge of disappointment if Nebraska's not 3-0 out of the gate, out of the coming out of the bye week, because
be 1-0, baby.
Yeah, and that's the goal. We know that, but it's hard not to look ahead to those 3 opponents, 2 at home, 1 on the road, and say, boy, and just know that you would have that accomplished before Maryland comes back to Lincoln. Like, that would be a great feeling.
I'd have a great feeling if Nebraska was 4-3. There you go. All right. Brett Ciancia, Lee Sterling in the next hour of a Football Friday Fiesta on a bye week on 1620 The Zone.
Mornings with Sharp and Handley on 1620 The Zone and 1620thezone.com. Live from the Host Coffee Studio, this is 1620 The Zone. 1620 The Zone Traffic.
From the Zoom Drain Time-Saving Traffic Center. We have no accidents to report at this time, but you can expect a little bit of slowdown from 149 to 138th along Industrial Road. Then on Dodge, there's going to be a little bit of slowdown from 80th to 72nd. And then on L Street, be prepared for things to slow down quite a bit from 108th all the way to 84th. As always, remember to stay safe and wear your seatbelts. I'm Chris Scott. This time-saving traffic was brought to you by Fernando's.
Reason number 23 to get your Fernando's fix during football season.
Go Big Taco!
For tailgates, watch parties, or just an ordinary Saturday, get your Fernando's fix. FernandosOmaha.com.
The cigar enthusiasts at Hearth Cigars and Pipes are a pretty diverse bunch of humans. Some enjoy an adult beverage or two, others pass the time with a competitive yet friendly game of dominoes. Still others enjoy shooting some pool downstairs, while more than a few are just satisfied with each other's company. The common thread with all of them is the awesomeness that is their favorite cigar from the humidor. Hearth Cigars and Pipes, just off the 48th Street exit from I-680 at the corner of Mormon Bridge Road in McKinley, and at hearthcigars.com.
Terrors of the night stalk among the trees. In the distance, fear awaits. A shriek, laughter, then silence. It's the season of darkness at the Ranch of Terror and Haunted Hayride. Spend an hour with nothing to protect you but your own screens. Bring your group and witness unspeakable horrors that test every fiber of your nerves. Hayride and House Combo $30 or $19 separately. The Ranch of Terror and Haunted Hayride. BellevueBerryFarm.com.
Oscar's Pizza and Sports Grill is always looking to make your game day bigger and better. Cheer on your favorite team this season in front of a 22-foot LED video wall showing up to 8 games at once. TVs are everywhere else you can look with a state-of-the-art audio and video system. Enjoy a big old pizza or award-winning char-buffed wings. There's just no better way to do your game day. Oscar's Pizza and Sports Grill, 173rd and West Center Road. And for takeout at 162nd and Maple.
You know, if we know anything, it's that local matters. Local shops, local restaurants, even locally brewed beers. October is Drink Local Month. So the Nebraska Craft Brewers Guild is challenging beer, seltzer, and cider drinkers like you to put your palate through its paces and drink local brews. Because seriously, Nebraska is really on the cutting edge when it comes to brewers who think outside the box. And besides, you really want to be drinking what they drink over in Iowa? Didn't think so. Click Nebraska.beer to find brews near you.
Announcing the 42 Degrees Botanical Bonanza. We're planting all kinds of low prices all over the store at every location. Save up to 50% on Delta, CBD, and Kratom. You heard right, up to 50% on all our CBD, Kratom, and Delta 8 products. Get to 42degrees.com. Then stop by and talk to the most knowledgeable, friendly, and professional staff. It's a Botanical Bonanza at your source for all your premium Kratom, Delta 8, and CBD. By your mom's house.
In Omaha, Bailey's Breakfast is the king of sausage, which is why they celebrate Sausage Fest. It's everything sausage from Italian, Polish sausage, and andouille to hot links, maple patties, and chorizo. Even live music from Barry Boyce. Get details at Bailey'sBreakfast.com.
Welcome to the After Hours Lounge on 1620 The Zone.
It is the hippest and the hoppest show on 1620 The Zone.
Who is it? Rap snitches, telling all their business. Sit in the court and be their own star witness. Do you see the perpetrator? Yeah, I'm right here. Brown, get the whole label sent to for years.
Catch After Hours 6 to 8, Monday through Friday, or as the sports schedule allows, on 1620 The Zone.
Let it fly. Your elevated sports bar experience. KOZ and Bellevue, Omaha, Council Bluffs. This is 1620, The Zone. And we're back. Mornings with Sharp and Handley. Here's Gary, Nick, and Jimmy on 1620, The Zone.
If you're keeping score at home, here are some headlines from around the area. High school football tonight. Regular season, hard to believe, is starting to wind down. Going to be chilly and windy. Good night to run the ball. Some games in the area in Class A. Westside takes on Millard South. Raymond is at Omaha Northwest. Gretna is at Omaha South. Lincoln Southeast faces Omaha Bryan. Millard North is at South Sioux City. Benson faces Central. Elkhorn South and Burke. Omaha North takes on Grand Island. Some games in Class B. Elkhorn is at Elkhorn Mount Michael. Elkhorn North takes on Bennington, Omaha Gross, and Omaha Buena Vista, and Omaha Westview and Blair. After 4 straight road matches, Nebraska volleyball back home at Devaney for a pair of matches this weekend. Tonight they welcome Michigan State before taking on 13th ranked Penn State tomorrow night, 6 o'clock and 7 o'clock, respectively. Creighton volleyball hosts their annual peak game tonight at Sokol against Georgetown, 6 o'clock. They face Villanova Sunday afternoon at 1. Omaha volleyball rides a 6-match winning streak into tomorrow's match with North Dakota at high noon. Tonight, it's finally hockey time at Baxter Arena as Omaha Hockey welcomes Niagara for a pair of games tonight and tomorrow at 7 o'clock. This weekend, Ohio State will be in town Friday and Saturday games there. In baseball, led by Bryce Harper, Trey Turner, and Game 4's hero, Nick Castellanos, the Phillies vanquished the Atlanta Braves in the division series for a second consecutive season, winning Game 4. Last night in Philly, Castellanos had 2 long drives in the game, so long that they were in fact home runs. Baseball's Final Four set, Phillies and D-backs in the NLCS, Astros and Rangers in the ALCS, and that starts on Sunday. Last night, professional football, Chiefs cover. They beat the Broncos 19-8. Worth noting, 4 field goals by Harrison Butker. Deion Sanders is complaining. This leads into tonight's game with Stanford. He is complaining that he does not like the late kickoffs. He says it's just sometimes hard to stay awake until the end. They play Stanford tonight at 9 o'clock Central. He was not happy because the game won't start till at least 8 o'clock Mountain and doesn't figure to finish until 11:30. Dion says, who makes these 8 o'clock games? Dumbest thing ever. Stupidest thing ever invented in life. In life. Who knew that that's what it was? Who wants to stay up until 8 o'clock for a darn game? Sanders said on Buff's primetime, ironically called. What about the East Coast? Do they even care about ratings? Is anyone watching it? What are we supposed to do with the kids all day until 8 o'clock? What are we supposed to do in the hotel? Hey, Travis Hunter, he plays video games. He looked just fine. He might play tonight. They don't know yet. He's just complaining. Maybe they'll watch some football on the downtime.
What time do you think he goes to bed?
Well, that's what I'm wondering.
I mean, he's getting a little bit older.
Yeah, you get older.
Who's playing on Friday? Yeah.
I think he's an early riser. I see a lot of his activity is early in the morning, so he probably.
I bet he shuts it down about 10.
Yeah.
November 17th, they play at 8:30 Mountain. So he really liked those 10 a.m. Mountain kickoffs. He's going to like the Big 12. He's going to ask for nothing but 11 o'clock games.
Well, that's the thing. Like, I mean, you personally.
He sounds like my dad, actually. He complains about.
That's how I wonder if I would be.
The Super Bowl should be at 1.
If I would be similar, like now compared to like if I were playing and I would get, really excited for prime time opportunities and play under the lights. But then you get older and you're like, man, we're creeping towards my bedtime. I start losing my functionability here.
I should kick off.
Let's start getting some more 10 a.m., 11 a.m. games. Then the players like, no, we don't want those. Those are too damn early for us. It's the tug of war there between the youngsters and the older coaches. I get what he's saying from like a brand standpoint.
Prime time.
Like he wants that brand loud and clear. He wants that brand to be seen. He wants it to be seen. And if you start losing an audience because the games are going into the early morning hours of a Sunday, or in this case, maybe even a Saturday, I understand that. But if you're playing every game under the lights, you're playing every primetime game, like we're talking kickoff times around 9 o'clock East Coast time. Okay, maybe, but I'm pretty sure they're not doing that every game. I mean, it's what every college football team has to kind of go through. So I don't feel bad.
They want you on TV for a reason.
Yeah. One thing he said that I do agree with him, because you hear a lot of coaches saying, is the reason they don't like playing night games is because they have their kids all day.
Yeah.
Like, what are you supposed to do with them? When do you get them up? How do you keep them busy? When do you eat? All that kind of stuff.
Mm-hmm.
So I get that. That's a concern from coaches. But college football they have shoved down our throat that the 11 a.m. window is the window. It's shifted pretty quick, because it used to be, hey, prime time, I want to play in prime time,
Mm-hmm.
or the coveted 2:30 SEC on CBS.
Yep.
Now 11 a.m. I mean, Fox has done a really good job of branding 11 a.m. That's where you want to be.
Mm-hmm.
But I don't know that fans want to be there. I know Ohio State fans are not happy that they're playing Penn State at 11 a.m.
Oklahoma fans bitch all the time.
Well, the ABC 2:30 slot a long time ago, that was always the national audience too. So yeah, 2:30 was always kind of like the sweet spot. That was like perfect, and not anymore. It's early.
Thanks, Jimmy. Did you guys see after Castellanos hit a couple of home runs last night and the Phillies celebrate and they're going to the NLCS? Did you see his interview with Matt Weiner?
Yeah, it was awkward.
I did not see that part. No, I went back over to the football.
It was really awkward. And then he went on MLB Network and dropped an F-bomb. So he's a quirky individual. And I don't know if he was trolling or exposing bad journalism. So Matt Weiner, part of the interview, and it is really, really awkward. And Castellanos just kind of stares at him. Matt Weiner never asked questions. He just made a statement. Like, boys and girls out there, they're in journalism, and I talk to journalism students, and I'm molding the minds of young ones that are going to come and take my job, is ask a question in an interview. Ask a question.
Don't say talk about.
Okay. Yeah, don't say talk about, but ask a question. And Matt Weiner didn't really ask a question, and so it became really awkward. And Castellanos, whether he's being a douche canoer or not, he was like, is there a question in there? And it was weird, because then Castellanos was just like staring at Matt Weiner. But boys and girls, if you're going to journalism class, and two of my faves at Prep and Westside, Ross and Matt, I know that you teach your kids, ask a question, okay? I hate interviews. I listen to them on the radio. You just hey, yeah, you know what? Nebraska's going to go 3-3. Don't you think?
Yes.
Where's a question in there? Ask a question, please. So I don't have a problem with him. I mean, could he have handled it differently? Some athletes will.
They'll humor you.
Yeah, and they'll just answer the question.
Yeah.
Okay. But like, he was on one last night, and he was basically, is there a question in there? And then Matt Weiner doubled down, and he went like the next one. And I don't know if Weiner caught on to, is this a joke or is Castellanos being a douche canoer? But then he did. Then he went with another question, and it wasn't a question. It was just like a statement. Respond to a statement. Ask a question, and it's okay to pay guests. There's my journalism 101 today.
It's like Chris Berman and Billy Haywood.
So I noticed it happen again last night, and this happened a week ago too with Kyle Schwarber. This was a question, but I ask a lot of dumb questions too. So
no question is dumb.
But can we quit asking Kyle Schwarber does this ever get old when you're celebrating, when you're popping champagne? It's now happened twice. And he even said, and I think he would, it wasn't by the same reporter, but he even said last night as he's getting doused by champagne, he said, like I said last week, you guys always ask me that. No, it doesn't. Like, has anybody in the history of post-game celebration ever be like, yeah, you know what? It's kind of mundane anymore.
Be like the sugar content in champagne. Have you seen it?
Yeah. I'm not more of I'd rather just be doused with, like, I don't know, give me a bottle of vino and let me kick up my feet for the night. I'd be happy celebrating that way. Like, I mean, nobody has ever, I understand, like, when you've done it so many times, it's kind of like it's almost like the dad joke. Like, hey, does this ever get old, huh? What do you expect him to say? Yeah, it does. This is stupid. I don't want to be here. Like, it's one of those questions in the window of time that you have to interview them. You already know the answer to that.
Jimmy, if you can bring up the Matt Weiner interview, you can find that. I'll buy you a little time here. Channel 3 Sean, who works at Channel 3, so he's a journalist, who asks questions. Mm-hmm. He says he just shared a tweet that he tweeted out last night. I wish more athletes would answer dip blank questions or statements like this. Day in and day out doesn't excuse you from being lazy. I don't know. Now sometimes, and I'll do this, is if you have a different kind of relationship with someone, you may not always be like pointed questions. So it's more of like a conversation. So I don't know if Weiner knows Castellanos or not, but do you have it?
Yep.
This was super awkward last night. So it goes on, and it doesn't get any better. So was Castellanos wrong? Now that you've heard the audio, Nick. In the moment, you to go to the NLCS.
I know
on the field, you hit 2 home runs in a game, and you're asked this.
I know what he's trying to get from Castellanos.
I'm looking at his face as he says it too.
Oh,
That's what I'm trying to.
Yeah, the whole dang thing was on.
Yeah, I know what he's trying to get from Castellanos. Kind of, describe your feeling. You're going to the NLCS,
Even Jim Gray thinks that's awkward.
But yeah, like I don't think it was a douche canoe move. And there was also part of that was, hey, they're trying to show the focus that we haven't won anything yet. So I think there's a little bit of that in his response there too. But I also would like to know, was there a beef with these two before?
That's what I was asking.
There is,
because he seems like there might have been, like, that was maybe as you mentioned. Now I hear it. Maybe he's been interviewed before, and
Castellanos watches a lot of NBA TV, and he doesn't like Matt Weiner.
Yeah. Ernie's better.
I feel like that was, unless there was something like that was going to be amazing. That was almost kind of a Popovich type of response there of an in-game interview.
Hey, quick question, because after Channel 3 Sean tweeted that at us, Pornbot just liked it. Man, this has been a big week for Pornbots. Like Lillian, let's be honest. So Channel 3 Sean, he followed up and tweeted Matt Weiner's defense. He's probably focusing on the start of the NBA. Lillian, who has she's following 9. She has 39 followers. She's never tweeted. She just liked that tweet. I'm guessing that Lillian's not listening to the show, because as I click on her bio, She's not wearing very much.
Well, she's looking for a partner to share her dreams.
Yeah, I don't think, or not maybe she's doing something with Matt Weiner, but I don't believe she's listening to the show or following us on Twitter that she would like that. So what is up with the porn bots? The porn bots have been busy.
They've been rampant for the last month, I've noticed.
Well, you always got to be prospecting.
Hey, so Connor and I were tweeting back and forth last week, and all of a sudden something triggered a porn bot, and all of a sudden his replies were like, "Hey, smash or pass." And we were like, "What's going on?" And he was like, "What did you do?" I'm just curious. I mean, what
Elon
game
is this?
Hey, is Elon sleeping at the wheel?
I don't know. Yeah, there's been
porn bots are busy this week.
You're right. I think for the last month, actually.
So we got another one here.
Holidays are coming. No pun intended.
Bruin Steve. Best case
Ruby.
4-2.
Yep, Ruby.
Worst case 2-4. Ruby likes the post.
Yep.
Maybe she likes Steve.
She's ready to find her pot of golden love.
Ruby thinks they'll go 6-9.
You click on Ruby's profile. She ain't wearing nothing. Okay. She ain't listening to the show. Elon, let's go.
Yeah.
All right.
Let's see.
And if they are, we'll be at the Linden Market High
We've
V
got
1 week
two
from
rubies. We had a ruby from another one of Bruin Steve's tweets earlier. So we've had back-to-back rubies.
Hey, Bruin Steve, you need to fix your Twitter account, man. You got a bunch of porn bots that are following you. All right. This will not elicit a porn bot. Thank you. Don says, I agree that Sims starting against Northwestern. A few weeks ago, I thought it would split the locker room, but my gut tells me different now. The defense deserves more points being scored. Sims has the best upside for that. I'll just chime in this. You can, if you'd like, Nick, to respond to Don's tweet from Diego to the Bay. This.
I don't worry about that. That's probably the least of my worries when it comes to having any type of a 2-quarterback system, or even if Jeff Sims were to start. Like, I don't worry about the locker room being fractured. I want to make sure that with this offense that Nebraska has, let's say they've been able to win more games than losing under Heinrich Harburg, that all of a sudden you don't take a major step back to where you have catastrophic injuries. Because remember, when Jeff Sims was starting, he still did have a healthy Marcus Washington. He still did have a healthy Gabe Ervin. He still did have a healthy Ramir Johnson. So you did have things that you don't have now. And I understand he's getting some reps. He's practicing without those guys right now. There are just things about it if he comes out as a starter. And I'm not trying to say that I think Jeff Sims is not going to give you any type of quality reps. I'm just concerned that based on what we saw before, when he did have a little bit more at his disposal and he doesn't now, I'm supposed to be convinced that there's going to be more chance of offense. That's a tough sell for me.
Just figure it out. Figure out the quarterback room. I have low expectations. We have John Party tickets we're going to give away at the top of the next hour. Brett Ciancia will join us next. Quick email into the Equitable Bank inbox. Our discussion in the first hour about the Braves are out, the Dodgers are out. This is clearly, John's email is from a Dodger fan. He goes, to remind you, Freddie Freeman, 1 hit. Mookie Betts, 0 hits. Kershaw, 1 out. Great show. Have a great weekend.
Yeah.
Mornings with Sharp and Handley on 1620 The Zone.
Hey, over at Woodhouse Mazda, this is the time to get into a Mazda CX-5 because they have got a great offer for you. And this is the crossover that got me moved over to Mazda. It is perfect for any type of family size that you have. Also, it can handle any road conditions because with every Mazda SUV, you can enjoy standard iActive all-wheel drive. Comes equipped with a 2.5 turbo engine as well, and you also have the power of changing driving modes with intelligent drive select technology, one of the many reasons that Mazda is on their game. Give a 2024 Mazda CX-5 turbo model a test drive today. Stop into Woodhouse Mazda in Bellevue or Woodhouse Place Mazda on 144th and Giles Road. And right now you can choose 0.9% APR for 36 months, 2.9% APR for 60 months, or 3.9% APR for 72 months. Always experience a streamlined sales process at WoodhouseMazda.com or WoodhousePlaceMazda.com, where you can schedule a test drive, shop inventory. Heck, you can even get your deal started online. Woodhouse Mazda, a drive worth experiencing. With approved credit, tax title, and license extra when financed with Mazda Financial Services, $299 doc fee due. Its signing offer expires 10/31/23. See dealer for details.
Gary Sharp, Nick Handley, and Jimmy Chavez. Mornings with Sharp and Handley. Weekdays 6 to 10 on 1620 The Zone and 1620thezone.com. Caller 4 right now, 402-951-1620. Qualifies for 1620 The Zone's four-quarter pick'em. It's your chance to pick 4 football games correctly against the spread to win $1,620. Call 402-951-1620. Call now to qualify with 1620 The Zone. Previously on Unsportsmanlike Conduct.
Do we have to get the elbows out and make a little room at the top of the NFC food chain for Detroit?
When we went through that exercise about what would make a successful season for every franchise, the thing I said about the Lions was hosting a playoff game. It's hard not to think that, A, they are the favorite in that division, which means, John, then B, they will probably be a 3 seed at worst.
Unsportsmanlike Conduct with John Bishop and Josh Peterson. Weekdays 2 to 6 on 1620 The Zone. Your Omaha area forecast presented by Bellevue Berry and Pumpkin Ranch from the KETV Newswatch 7 Weather Center on 1620 The Zone.
Few spotty showers rolling through the area this morning. Some of those may linger into the afternoon as well. Our winds are going to pick up too out of the northwest at around 15 to 30 miles per hour this afternoon, keeping our temperatures down, hitting a high of around 56 degrees today. I'm meteorologist Luke Vickery, KETV Newswatch 7.
Don't miss a moment this fall. Head over to KuglerVision.com right now. That's KuglerVision.com.
1620 The Zone. Traffic.
From the Zoom Drain Time-Saving Traffic Center. We have no accidents to report at this time, but you can expect a little bit of slowdown from 149 to 138th along Industrial Road. Then on Dodge, there's going to be a little bit of slowdown from 80th to 72nd. And then on L Street, be prepared for things to slow down quite a bit from 108th all the way to 84th. As always, remember to stay safe and wear your seatbelts. I'm Chris Scott. This time-saving traffic was brought to you by Signworks.
Since 1935, businesses all around Omaha have trusted one sign company with their visual branding, Signworks. We design, manufacture, and install signs of all kinds, including high-tech message centers like the new installation at Steelhouse Omaha. We can make your sign too. SignWorksOmaha.com.
Email us on the Equitable Bank inbox with whatever's on your mind. Zone Inbox is brought to you by Equitable Bank. We take banking personally. You can get me, Gary, at 1620thezone.com. We want to hear from you on the Equitable Bank Zone Inbox.
Standard Heating and Air Conditioning is and has always been locally owned and operated. Now, with 160 employee owners, chances are one of us lives in your neighborhood. We take pride in taking care of you, our customers, and keeping you comfortable all year round. And as always, our technicians don't have sales quotas. When other companies send salespeople, Standard sends qualified technicians. It's just part of
Carrier, turn to the experts.
Yep, I'm looking at the pages right now.
Thomas's translation company just lost its only 2 Spanish speakers. Without the right replacements, he'll be in problemas.
Yeah, we'll have those ready. Tonight's going to be a late one.
Indeed can help him hire great people fast.
I need Indeed.
Indeed you do. With Indeed Instant Match, we immediately show you quality candidates whose resumes on Indeed meet your sponsored job description. Visit Indeed.com/credit and get $75 towards your first sponsored job. Terms and conditions apply.
We're going abroad for the first time in years. To Spain. So we started using Babbel.
And started learning Spanish fast.
With Babbel, you can start having conversations in another language in just 3 weeks.
¿Cómo te llamas?
¿Cómo te llamas?
When you learn a language, you want to actually use it. Babbel is designed with that goal in mind.
In just 3 weeks, we're starting to have conversations in Spanish. Gracias, Babbel.
Babbel, language for life. Now try Babbel for free at Babbel.com. That's Babbel.com.
Sausage is king at Bailey's Breakfast. It's Sausage Fest 2023 with everything sausage. It's a celebration of all the amazing flavors of house-made sausages. Bring your appetite and get to Sausage Fest at Bailey's Breakfast, just south of 120th and Pacific.
It's the Genesis Health Club's anniversary celebration sale. We're celebrating 37 years of even with celebrating our 37th anniversary. Every day, Genesis members celebrate their health and fitness by feeling great and loving life. The better your health is, the more you enjoy each and every day. Regular exercise is the #1 ingredient to a healthy and more prosperous life. Join Genesis Health Clubs today for our 37th anniversary and join for just 37 cents and get the rest of the year for free. With a 37-cent enrollment fee and a savings that make the rest of the year for free, it's easy to get going and start celebrating today. One day left. Join today at GenesisHealthClubs.com. This time next year could be your 1-year anniversary of a happier, healthier, more confident, and more energetic version of yourself. Genesis Health Club will help you every step of the way. Join Genesis today for just 37 cents and get the rest of the year for free. Now that's something to celebrate.
This hour is powered by Dollar General Distribution Center in Blair, Nebraska on 1620 The Zone. And we're back. Mornings with Sharp and Handley. Here's Gary, Nick, and Jimmy on 1620 The Zone.
Okay, so you're wondering what this song is. It's going to become very catchy right now. So this is the song when the Phillies win, they play at Citizens Bank Park, Dancing on My Own. It also, because our next guest, Brett Ciancia, can tell us, it's the #1 song in Philly at bars, weddings, and ballparks. As he joins us now for Pick Six Previews. How is the city of Philadelphia this morning?
Hey, Gary, thanks for having me on. Yeah, historic series. Another win over the Braves 2 years in a row. Always feels great. It's the biggest baseball rival. But how about that home atmosphere in Philadelphia? The Red October, as good as ever. It's hard to get in there. They say it's cheaper to buy an airfare, round trip, and Uber, and a game ticket in Atlanta for us Philadelphians than to just get over to the ballpark. That's how high the tickets are, and rightfully so. It's probably the best home field advantage in baseball right now.
Hey, we think your fans are crazy. You're one of them. Are you?
I'm more an Eagles fan, but hey, everyone's a Phillies fan this time of year. It's very infectious and nothing better than fall baseball. So yeah, we're on the Red October bandwagon, of course, every year and supporting. But I prefer them to play the Rocky theme song rather than that lonely song at the end of the game. But it's okay. Whatever motivates them to keep winning, keep playing it.
College football, we got a good weekend of it. I want to start in Big Ten where you don't have two ranked teams involved, though, and it's one that I know a lot of us are keeping our eye on in the Big Ten West, in Wisconsin and Iowa. If you're trying to get a feel for either one of these teams, I think we know what Iowa can and can't do. Where are you on Wisconsin, especially since that loss to Washington State?
No, where are you going? Where are we going this morning?
Yeah, so what you have there is the Big Ten West West title, most likely. And, I had that forecasted in the preview book, and I think it's still going to be your 1 versus 2. With Wisconsin, they have, they have a solid offense under Phil Longo. It hasn't really clicked yet. It's not with the final product what we'd like out of him. It's getting there. He definitely has the receivers to pull it off. It's just a work in progress. So the best unit, I'd say, is Iowa's offense. The worst unit is the best unit is their defense. Yeah. Worst is their offense. So I'm going to go Wisconsin overall, and I'm going to stick with that prediction to win the West.
Brett Ciancia from Pick Six Previews joining us, who is out and about this morning. All right, so Week 7, there are a handful of impactful games. None is bigger than the game in Seattle between number 8 Oregon and number 7 Washington. Before you give us who you think's going to win, what do you think the final score will be?
Wow. Well, I think it might be higher. I think it's going to be quite a shootout there, and what I think are the two best teams in the Pac-12 right now. Two great quarterbacks. They're definitely both in the Heisman conversation with Michael Penix and Bo Nix. But really underrated is their offensive lines, and these two are rated towards the top of my numbers in both offensive line run push and sack rate. I think they're number 1 and number 2 in sack rate, actually, when you look at sacks allowed per pass attempt. So another thing to look at, too, is Washington throws the ball more than anybody in the country as a percentage of their plays. It's the most pass-heavy offense. So they're going to be throwing the ball deep. It's going to be high scoring. And I think at the end, the differentiator is going to be Washington's defense in an otherwise shootout. I think they got a couple turnovers. So defensive coordinator and some new starters on that side of the ball, and wins it there in Seattle.
I want to ask you just the quarterback battle alone between Bo Nix and Michael Penix Jr. If you were to let's play the game of, if you were to start your football program, which one of these guys do you feel is the dude? I mean, do you feel like there is a decisive advantage, or are these guys very even as far as how they produce for their respective teams?
I'd say it's pretty even. Now, it comes down to style. So I think with Oregon, what you get with Bo Nix is a little bit more mobility. He can really take over a game with his legs if he needs to. With Michael Penix, he's mobile himself, definitely. But I think he has more of a deep ball and the ability to extend the field vertically. And you see Washington's Ryan Grubb, their offensive coordinator, taking advantage of that. The most 30-yard passes, most 20-yard passes, most 10-yard. You go down the list, Washington's up there in terms of explosive passing. So, and even if you just watch these guys, they aren't 1-yard passes that the guy catches and runs 30 yards. They're in the air for 30 yards. It's just bombs away. So I would take Michael Penix just to stretch the field vertically and really, open up those receivers that you have.
How does Miami respond after that debacle against Georgia Tech, playing in Chapel Hill tomorrow night?
Yeah, it's bad enough for a coach to do that once in his career, but this is the second time that Mario Cristobal has had the exact scenario. Go back to 2018 at Oregon when it was Oregon versus Stanford. Had the game won, could have needed the ball, but kept running the ball. I don't understand. So they gave that game away. They also outgained them by 300 yards. That was a really decisive, should have been a victory for Miami. So I think they're still a solid top 25 team, and they're going to challenge UNC. This game might go a long way in determining who faces Florida State in the ACC title game. I'm going to go UNC, more proven on both sides of the ball right now for me, and they have the experienced coaching staff. So I'll go UNC, but these are two really good teams in my opinion.
We get the big one tomorrow night on NBC, and with Notre Dame, USC in the rivalry, and a lot of the questions, Notre Dame kind of reeling a little bit. USC, look, there's some issues there with that defense too. This being on the road for the Trojans, and Notre Dame basically getting that home field advantage as far as the bettors are concerned right now. How do you see this one playing out? And is there more to USC than just what's going on with their defense?
Yeah, well, I think first with Notre Dame, you're seeing a program and a team that's just running on empty. I mean, they've had so many emotional games the last 3-4 weeks. That undefeated matchup with Ohio State that came down to the wire, the Duke game, they were on the winning side of that one. And then Louisville last week in the biggest home game that Louisville's had in almost a decade. So they got to be just exhausted emotionally. They are battle tested if you want to spin it positively. They've had a much tougher course than USC so far, who has played the bottom three of the Pac-12 and then a middle of the pack, Arizona. And all three of them, well, four of them have played them strong and played them to within a score. So USC's defense is the worst unit in the game by far. I think.
Oh,
he's walking. He's in his garage, I think. I'm just trying to listen.
He's going to open up the door.
So
might need to reconnect with Ciancia.
Let's call him right back, Jimmy, and catch him in his garage.
He never answered where he was going either.
No, some people go and when they do these interviews, and these people are not paid to be on the show, they go into their garage and they sit in their car. They don't turn the car on, of course.
Yes.
Safety. Foremost.
Yes.
So they don't have any distractions. So I think he had pulled into his garage.
You might be right.
Yeah,
it sounds plausible.
All right. Sorry, we lost you there, Brett. You were in the middle of talking about this game in South Bend.
Yeah, I think Notre Dame will get it. I think that they're more battle tested. You can spin that positively, that they've been through the ringer already, and USC hasn't faced anybody in the top 50 so far. So, I'll take Notre Dame's offensive line, defensive line. I think they get things fixed after the Louisville game. There won't be any emotional hangover, I don't think, because now you're back at home. It's like a rival, an undefeated team, a Heisman winner. So I'm going to take Notre Dame. It's really a coin flip to me, just because USC is kind of a mystery still. We don't know really what we have there. Because they haven't faced anybody tough yet, so I'll go Notre Dame. But
so let me ask you this about Lincoln Riley, Brett. I'm going to give you a great stat. So his time at USC, they are 1-2 straight up and against the spread in games with lines of a 3-point underdog to a 3-point favorite under Lincoln Riley. I know that's just 3 games, but that's a weird stat. Why does it seem, though, that in big games, Lincoln Riley's teams disappoint?
Well, I think it's this. Against inferior opponents, your 10-plus spread, your 20-plus spread, they have the advantage talent-wise. They're able to just throw it all over the field and score 50 points and run it up on people. So, but once they're challenged with equally talented rosters, other 5-star programs and other gritty, top 10 teams, if it's a shootout, those have more variability. I mean, if it's touchdown for touchdown, those are 50-50 games, and you see them coming up short. The first Utah game last year was, I think, a close that Utah 241. I think Utah and the Pac-12 game was a close line, and USC blew a 17-3 lead. So I don't know. I think defense comes in handy in these tight games, and they don't have any of it over there.
Are you feeling more? I don't want to say confident, but do we know more about Kentucky after the win over Florida, but also the way that they performed against Georgia, to where, Missouri, you look at Missouri coming in to Kentucky this weekend and having a puncher's chance, both teams with identical 5-1 records. Who do you feel more about, maybe, is the better question?
Yeah, I feel more about Missouri. I think the wrong team is favored here. I'm going Missouri to win it outright, despite being underdogs in Lexington. What I like about Missouri is their passing offense. They put up a ton of yards, a ton of points. Brady Cook is in the top 10 nationally with his quarterback rating. Luther Burden is their 5-star receiver. They got plenty of blue chippers, though. It was part of Drinkowitz's great recruiting haul a couple years ago. It's all coming to life here. So I think they're going to get their points. They're going to score a ton. Kentucky, they came out of the gates. They had a really easy non-conference schedule, and credit them for going 4-0 there. But there weren't many challenges. And yes, they beat Florida, a good win. I don't know how good that is. We'll see as the dust settles. But we'll learn more about Georgia and Missouri, I think, than we did Kentucky. Because Georgia can drop 50 on anybody when they want. So I'm going to go Missouri here and stick with my preseason prediction.
What will we be talking about in regards to Jimbo Fisher on Sunday morning after they play in Knoxville tomorrow?
Wow, well, it's a big test. It's strength on strength, too, when you have their defense, A&M, going up against the Tennessee offense, the fast-paced attack that they have under Josh Heupel. So strength on strength on that side. The other side of the ball, too, Tennessee's got a sneaky strong rush defense, top 10 of my numbers. So I think that it's going to have to be on the shoulders of Connor Johnson there, the starting quarterback for A&M, the backup, taking over for Connor Weigman. So what are we going to be talking about? Well, it's very bipolar when you talk A&M fan base. If he wins, he's the greatest coach ever. If they lose, it could be hot seat time because they're still in the thick of that SEC West race, but need to keep winning.
UCLA, Oregon State, UCLA with a nice victory last weekend against Washington State. And then now you go into Corvallis, and just looking at Oregon State and what they've done to this point too. I know they are a slight home favorite. UCLA have any kind of hangover effect? Do you think this one is going to kind of go down to what Vegas would tell us it would be?
Well, I like UCLA here, and I think it's one of the least talked about teams in the country. If you're going to talk top 25 caliber teams, nobody is great statistically. I am a numbers guy. I like to watch the games, obviously, but you gotta supplement that with numbers.
Mm. Yeah, we lost Brett. Okay. Just Jimmy, let him know thank you, because I think where he's at, he's having a bad sell, and so I don't want to go through that again. And we'll hook back up with him from Ivy next week. Let's go back to the game that you first started off asking Brett about, and I know it's the Sickos Committee game. We're watching Wisconsin and Iowa and Madison. Well, let's be honest.
Yeah,
I mean, those two teams have combined for 7 of the last 9 titles in this division.
Yeah.
Okay. And they're the ones that everybody is chasing. Are we going to if you are some of the people in my Twitter line about the expectation discussion this morning, are you openly rooting for Iowa? Because if Wisconsin wins, any faint hope probably of winning the West gets knocked down a little bit. If Iowa wins, you're like, yeah, okay. Are you going to pull for Iowa in this game? In this, who's going to have 10 and who's going to have 3?
I would think so, because then you would give Wisconsin their first conference loss too. And then that creates the whole scenario that we talked about of, what do we always say? Play meaningful games in November. Well,
November to remember.
Yeah. You make it that much more of a reality if that happens. And yeah, I absolutely think there's a case to be made. I think it's one of those things. It's sort of a damned if you do, damned if you don't, because Iowa, obviously that will be a pretty good flex. They'll get a little bit of the attention when it comes to the Big Ten circles, that is. If the Big Ten West circles maybe is a better way to put it. They'll get a little bit more of the attention. Sometimes that's tough to process when you are a Nebraska fan. But what they would have done, yes, would be very advantageous, very beneficial to Nebraska.
Hey, should we give credit to Iowa? I know.
Whoa.
I'm sorry.
Whoa.
I'm sorry.
It's Friday the 13th.
No, I'm going to give credit to Iowa because, hey, I said yesterday Tony White might be Nebraska's Phil Parker.
Mm-hmm.
But there is this weird thing, and I like Wisconsin in this game. I don't know they're going to cover the 10, but I don't think Iowa's offense is going to score 10. I mean, I got Deacon Hill at quarterback, who that is a work in progress. And Wisconsin is a work in progress, but don't kid yourself. Braylon Allen's the dude. I mean, Braylon Allen carries the ball all the time. Malusi is out, but Braylon Allen has 124 of the 196 carries. But a credit to Iowa, just hear me out. Don't come over here and slug me in the shoulder.
Shoulder.
Is there another part? Yeah, I don't know. I got to protect the face. I'm on TV tonight.
That's true.
Okay. I got TV tonight.
No touch in the face, of course. Yeah, okay.
Just shoulder, leg.
I'm going to punch you in the knee.
Should we give credit to Iowa does this thing, and they may do this tomorrow, and only us sickos that love Big Ten West football are going to watch, but Iowa's ability to drag the other team down into the hole.
Mm-hmm.
Like,
it's a real thing.
Like Iowa does a really good job of making whoever they play also look not good.
Oh, I agree. 100%. There's an art to that.
Their stank rubs off on somebody else.
Jimmy, there's an art to that.
Jimmy, is this a real thing? Like you've been around where somebody else's stank rubs off on you, and all of a sudden you've gone from being really good to really bad?
Absolutely. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
There's
it just
definitely
gets
an art to
infected,
that.
and you're like, wait, is it me? Was it me the whole time? No, it's them.
This is how sometimes when I'm playing golf and I'm having a bad one playing with like good golfers, and all of a sudden they start like shanking shots. I'm like, I'm sorry, guys. It's probably me.
But isn't that like a subtle thing that Iowa does well?
100%.
Think of some of the basketball teams that you see in college. I mean, it works in the pros too, that how come their games are always 50-46? That's a good team. Well, they make you play ugly with them. Well, so you have to get down and dirty with them.
This has been going on for some years, though, with Iowa. This might be a bad example because Iowa's offense was at least a little bit better in that 2015 year. But go back to that Wisconsin-Iowa matchup then when it was, again, I think it was like 9-6 or 10-7, something like that. Like Wisconsin had to play at that level, too. They played down. And I think in order to do that, because I think you're absolutely right, in order to do that, though, you've got to have what Iowa fortunately has for them. And that is a defense that you can play down with. But yeah, I think the stink of the offense absolutely rubs off.
Okay. Now you can hit me in the other shoulder, Jimmy, because I'm going to give you another connection. Isn't that what Nebraska did to Illinois Friday night?
Huh?
Nebraska wasn't great.
It's a winning formula.
They had some stank. That stank rubbed off on Illinois, and they were stankier than Nebraska was.
Illinois.
Is that a word?
Yeah. Illinois is pretty stanky too. I don't know who stank was.
Yeah, but they didn't rub off on Nebraska.
Well, that's true.
Nebraska wasn't really, really stanky.
So their stank consumed them to the point that Illinois was gagging so much.
How come this was not in a Sam McEwen video at the end of the game? Who was stankier? Get your stank on.
It was a stanky football game.
Who hasn't done the stanky dance?
The stanky
you
leg?
guys do the stanky dance?
You mean the stanky leg?
Yeah, I stay away from the leg.
What is it? Then I don't know what the stanky dance is without a stanky leg.
It's a little bit of, we got a little Seinfeld in there.
Oh, the Elaine?
You got a little Elaine in there.
We got the thumbs going?
Yeah.
Okay.
And then you get really stanky and you start gyrating.
Then
you got the bad.
So is it the stanky Elaine?
Huh?
Is it the stanky Elaine?
I don't know. I've never been with Elaine. But Iowa has that weird habit of drawing teams down that make it look ugly. And tomorrow could be super ugly, but I like Wisconsin, and that's kind of scary what happens with the rest of the West. Do you like
Wisconsin lane, though?
Nope.
Okay. That number, I think, is a little high.
I like me some 10-3 football.
Yeah.
Embrace it, everybody.
13-6.
Not everybody can have, 56-46.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, sometimes you need to mix in a little 10-3 in your life. Just remind yourself how great a sport this is.
As the stank wears off in a game, it needs to wear off on a college football audience sometimes. You just need to be humbled sometimes.
Too bad Gus and Joel are not doing this game. Gus can go to Joel. This game has got stank written all over it.
It's stanky.
And Joel will say, welcome to the Big Ten West. We'll welcome Lee Sterling to the show from Paramount Sports coming up next. Hey, they will welcome you with open arms. See what I did there? Texas Ranger fans would be very, very happy. You can shop Woodhouse Buick GMC first at 119th and I and experience the difference like I did. I was there a couple of months ago, needed a vehicle. My lease was up. I said, what do you got for me? So we looked at a bunch of different vehicles, and I finally fell in love with the Buick Envision as I took advantage of the knowledgeable expertise of Xavier and the rest of the sales staff, and they made the process super easy. Right now, you could find yourself behind the wheel of a 23 Buick Envision preferred all-wheel drive, hands-free power liftgate, quiet tuning technology to heads-up display. Plus, right now, this is the Sharpie special, $22.50 off MSRP. That's what you can save right now. See dealer for details, and this offer expires at the end of the month. See all the other vehicles because they simply have something for everyone. Indoor showroom, 119th and I, new and pre-owned inventory, stylish SUVs that fit the whole family comfortably, to a capable truck. Yeah, like that 23 GMC 1500. Go big or go home, and it doesn't act like a truck. They've made it all simple. In person, 119th and I, or online at WoodhouseBuickGMC.com. GMC, we are professional grade.
More with Gary and Nick after this on 1620 The Zone. Remember, no matter how you listen, it's still AM radio. 1620 The Zone.
Say goodbye to summer and hello to cash loans. Let's face it, your personal banker probably won't loan you thousands of dollars today, but Saul's Jewelry and Loan will. Simply bring in your boat, camper, RV, jet ski, ATV, motorcycle, even your beautiful convertible, along with a clear title, and Saul's will loan you up to $50,000. No credit check, no hassle, and more importantly, no worries. Saul's indoor storage facility is so clean and secure, you can store your precious Harley-Davidson for the winter and pick it up next spring. So if you need a quick cash loan, Saul's is here to help.
Yep, I'm looking at the pages right now.
Thomas's translation company just lost its only 2 Spanish speakers. Without the right replacements, he'll be in problemas.
Yeah, we'll have those ready. Tonight's going to be a late one.
Indeed can help him hire great people fast.
I need Indeed.
Indeed you do. With Indeed Instant Match, we immediately show you quality candidates whose resumes on Indeed meet your sponsored job description. Visit Indeed.com/credit and get $75 towards your first sponsored job. Terms and conditions apply.
Val's Pumpkin Patch and Apple Orchard has something fun for all ages. Come take a ride on the antique cars, where the kids are the drivers. Visit our foam ball play area called the Egg Scramble. Stop by the cider mill area where you can have a drink of refreshing apple cider and taste some deliciously good barbecue at Ethan's Applewood Smokehouse. Val's has more than 50 other attractions included with admission, along with fireworks every Friday night at 9. Vala's, the place to visit this fall.
If you love food, love fun, love fall, you'll love Vala's Pumpkin Patch best of all.
If you're hiring, it can feel like you're trying to find a needle in a haystack. You can hope the right person comes along, or you can just use ZipRecruiter. And now you can try it for free at ZipRecruiter.com/radio. In fact, ZipRecruiter has helped a lot of business owners find their needle in a haystack, like Marco, president of operations at Telly Tires and Auto Centers. Because Telly Tires has grown a lot in the last few years, Marco needed to hire everyone from a receptionist to a store manager to a head mechanic.
ZipRecruiter helps me find all the right people, even the most difficult jobs to fill. ZipRecruiter helps me keep my business running.
Take it from Marco and millions of other businesses who've used ZipRecruiter. ZipRecruiter can help you find the needle in the haystack.
See why 4 out of 5 employers who post a job on ZipRecruiter get a quality candidate within the first day. And right now, you can try ZipRecruiter for free. That's right, free at ZipRecruiter.com/radio. That's ZipRecruiter.com/RADIO. ZipRecruiter.com/radio. ZipRecruiter, the smartest way to hire.
Later today, join the program at one of our favorite stops. It's Nebraska. Heck, it's America's best concession stand. Omaha Roncalli, just off Sorensen Parkway. Come on by, have some great food. Join the Grum today, 2 to 6, 1620 The Zone.
Fear has a name. For 30 years, Scary Acres has been doing what they do best. Scaring the out of you. The Master's Castle, House on the Hill, and the Haunted Woods.
Gary Acres, the ultimate haunted attractions, 172nd and Giles, sponsored in part by Raising Cane's, Stereo West, and Ivy.
1620 The Zone at 1620thezone.com. Now back to mornings with Sharp and Handley on 1620 The Zone.
All right, here we go with our friend from Paramount Sports. That's the place to live. As we welcome in Lee Sterling to kick off another football weekend. Good morning, Lee.
Good morning, guys. How are you?
Good. This is a
Does it feel weird?
Are we?
Does it feel weird?
We're weird
on the bye week.
Oh,
yeah.
I always felt it was weird when my college or NFL team wasn't playing that week.
Lee, we're almost through it. We're almost through it.
Yeah, it's but you know what? It's one of those odd years where the bye week actually falls in the middle of the season. They played 6 and they have 6 to go.
I think that's perfect.
Hey, before we jump into the slate of games, I mean, I'd be remiss if I did not ask, how are we doing Saturday night when you were watching your beloved Canes?
Not good.
Okay.
It was painful. And I like Mario as a person. I've met him many times. I think he's the right coach for the team even still. And I said this when I was interviewed. Recruiter, really good as far as motivating the kids, and he's going to do the right thing. But he has one major weakness, and I talked about a few of the games, mainly that game in 2018 that I saw at about 1:15 in the morning, where he could almost run out the clock, run it down to like 10, 15 seconds, and he didn't. He ran the ball on like a 3rd and 2, and they fumbled, and sure enough, Stanford tied the game and won it in overtime. So maybe the worst part about it is no one on the staff said anything.
Mm-hmm.
And also, I don't think he knew what he had done, the mistake that he had made, until he hit the locker room, which is almost unfathomable. But maybe the best thing for these kids is they get to go out and play the next week. If you end a season like that, I mean, I was a part. What do you guys think was the worst loss you were ever a part of or ever witnessed?
It wasn't a last-second loss. It was just an absolute blowout.
I had a lot of whoopings.
No,
they're probably the worst.
Okay, so I was a part in high school of a state semifinal game. Get this, where the opponent never crossed our 50-yard line. They stripped our running back of the ball, ran 30 yards for a touchdown. We scored with 5 minutes to go. Well, we had 3 touchdowns called back. We usually committed my team about 150 yards and penalties or more. Very physical team, to say the least. I'm being nice. But we played through the whistle a few times. But we had 3 touchdowns called back. We score with 5 minutes to go. Kicker misses the extra point.
Ooh.
Get the ball back, drive down, get to their 13-yard line, try to 30-yard field goal. Kicker hooks it last play of the game. So, tough loss.
Okay.
And I just remember that my high school was my junior year. We were in a funk for about 2 months, the whole school.
I can imagine. Who will be in a funk Saturday night in South Bend? Notre Dame, who is gone. Ohio State, Duke, Louisville might be out of gas, but oh, by the way, they got to play USC. Or USC on the road with that porous defense, but the man that's in the number 1 car for the Heisman Trophy. What happens in South Bend, Lee?
I think that everyone knows about the USC offense and Caleb Williams, but their defense, as bad as they've been, they're number 8 in sacks in the country. So they create havoc. Sam Hartman was sacked 5 times last week. I think this offense for Notre Dame, nothing special. I think they're played out. They only scored 21, 20 points the last 2 weeks. Wrong team favored, USC 37-30.
You just talked about Miami, and now that they try to recover, going to Chapel Hill, taking on North Carolina. North Carolina is a favorite of the home field variety, right around 3.5. What do you see in this one?
I think it's the best thing, like I said, that Miami's playing this week. I think these kids are going to come out and play hard. I'm not going to play the game before it starts. I'm going to probably play some in-game wagers if Miami scores first or looks good the first series or two, which I think they will. This is the best team that North Carolina's faced. Best offense, best defense, best special teams here. I like Miami outright, 34-30.
Lee Sterling from Paramount Sports joining us. All right, this is the game that we love around this area because we like our ground and pound in Madison. The total is really low. The total's gone under the last 3 times, but the number's kind of big. Wisconsin's a 10-point favorite. Does the Badgers get into the Big Ten West driver's seat with a victory?
I think they're begging you to play Iowa. Don't fall for the trap here. Iowa's game plan, 5 of the 6 games worked. It failed miserably in the 6th against Penn State. Deacon Hill, 6 passes. That's all he completed against an awful Purdue defense here. Don't discount this Wisconsin offense because they only scored 24 points on Rutgers last week. Rutgers defense held the offenses to 14 points per game. I like Wisconsin big, 34-10.
Okay. Ohio State does have a road game, but it is in West Lafayette. As Gary mentioned earlier, Rondale Moore is probably not playing for Purdue, so that's good to know. But the last time that upset took place, Ohio State though is a large favorite, 19.5 on the road. So what happens in this one?
Kyle McCord finally showed up again late last week. Purdue's defense, one of the worst we've seen in a long time. They gave up 20 to Iowa. 38 to Wisconsin, 35 to a bad Syracuse offense this year, and 39 to a nothing Penn State offense. They've also committed 10 turnovers in 4 games here. Purdue's 22-45 the last 67 games. Prep parties can start early. Ohio State 42-16.
All right, let's jump into the NFL. Detroit appears to be real, but Baker Mayfield has had a little resurgence. This is, I think, a game on the road where we learn about the Lions. Do we learn about the Lions as a 3-point favorite winning and covering?
Here's the problem for the Lions. They could be without their best offensive lineman, Laporta. Has got a calf injury now, maybe similar to Joe Burrow. He could be out. Gibbs, their star rookie running back, and also Brown, their best receiver. All are game-time decision. I have a feeling 3 of the 4 will not play. Tampa Bay's defense has gotten at least 2 takeaways in every game this year, and Baker just not committing turnovers. All he got to do is distribute the ball to his playmakers here. I like Tampa Bay at home in the creamsicle uniforms here. It's not going to be a high-scoring game though. 20-17.
All right, and as you always give our listeners a free play, it'll be Dallas and the Chargers. So how can folks get involved with that this week?
Love this game. A lot of people look at it as a tight game. I think one team's going to win easy. You want to get the game for free, just be one of the first 10 callers. Call 800-400-9741. We'll give them the game for free. 800-400-9741. Dallas and the Chargers on me. And if you want to get involved, probably the right week. It's our first 40 to 50 unit selection of the year. We're 62-20 on these the last 15 years. Our record this year since the first preseason game, 47-22-2. We don't call it October, we call it Locktober. 3 weeks a game, just $247 one place, ParamountSports.com.
Hey, Lee, before we let you go, Ryan emailed us, and he said, since I signed up a month ago with Lee, he's 40-15. I haven't been this hot since I hooked up with the Miller twins in high school. Not sure who they are. He said, have a great one. So there you go. You can put that on your promotional thing.
That makes me feel better.
Testimonial.
Lee, have a great weekend.
I'd like to meet the Miller twins.
Ryan certainly did. Have a great weekend, Lee.
All right, guys. Take care.
That's Lee Sterling from Paramount Sports. You can follow him on Twitter, Paramount Sports. Wow. Of course, get that free play with all the information you gave them.
That was great. What a hell of an endorsement right there.
On the Miller twins, though.
Yeah, I'm very excited about Lee Sterling.
Twins.
Is he excited about Lee or the Miller twins? And what happened to the Miller twins?
I don't know. What are they doing these days? They're not doing car commercials, are they?
Are their names Ruby by chance?
Oh, wait, they're not twins. Never mind.
No.
Never mind.
We got to the bottom of that.
Yeah, we did.
I say, here's what I say to Ryan.
Yeah. Well done.
Good on you in high school. It appears you are still winning.
Mm-hmm.
You can win John Party tickets. Wah, wah, wah. He's coming to Baxter Arena. We want to get you in the building. Nick's got a game for y'all to play. So you get a chance to win a pair of tickets to a John Party coming to Baxter Arena next week. We'll do that in the next hour. Dave Raymond, television voice of the Texas Rangers, the Rangers and the Astros. Yes. We have the Diamondbacks and the Phillies. Dave will join us, plus Mike Schaefer and Matt Verzal on a Football Friday fiesta of a bye week on 1620 The Zone. Hey, right now, there is $200 in bonus bets, win or lose, for you with FanDuel, America's #1 sportsbook. So if you've been thinking about joining FanDuel, there's no better time than to get in all the action right now.
Yeah, that's right. And you get $200 in bonus bets, win or lose. If you've been thinking about joining FanDuel, again, get the safe and easy-to-use app, wide range of betting options, including spreads, player props. Actually looking at the Tennessee and Baltimore Ravens matchup with the Lamar Jackson passing yards of over 227, over-unders, and much more that you can choose from. Visit FanDuel.com. Use the promo code ZONE. Again, FanDuel.com/zone, and kick off the NFL season. FanDuel, official partner of the NFL. 21 plus and present in Iowa. First online real money wager only. $10 first deposit required. Bonus issued as non-withdrawable bonus bet set expires 7 days after receipt. Restrictions apply. See terms at sportsbook.fanduel.com. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-BETS-OFF.
Mornings with Sharp and Handley returns in minutes on 1620 The Zone. Live from the Host Coffee Studio, this is 1620 The Zone. 1620 The Zone. Traffic.
From the Zoom Drain Time-Saving Traffic Center. We have no accidents to report at this time. You can expect some slowdown from 192nd to 168th on Center. Then on Dodge, it looks like there's going to be a little bit of traffic buildup from 77th to 75th. And along L, be prepared for a little bit of a delay from 96th to 79th. As always, remember to stay safe and wear your seatbelts. I'm Chris Scott. This time-saving traffic was brought to you by the Nebraska Lottery.
The Nebraska Lottery has raised over $951 million, which has helped to provide more than 117,000 college scholarships, save wildlife habitats across the state, and fund new facilities at the Nebraska State Fair. The Nebraska Lottery, helping to build a better Nebraska.
The Zone Inbox is brought to you by Equitable Bank. We take banking personally. Email me, Connor Happer, with the Connor Happer Show at Connor, CONNOR, at 1620thezone.com. Send me your love, your hate, and maybe a few hot takes. The Zone Inbox, presented by Equitable Bank.
Hey everyone, Josh Peterson here for my friends at Kugler Vision. Football season has arrived. You'll be going to games, and maybe you have seats high up. Well, go to Kugler Vision and make sure that you can see all of the action on the football field. Low monthly payment plans are available, and Kugler Vision gladly accepts your flex plans and medical spending accounts too. Give them a call at 402-558-2211 or schedule online at KuglerVision.com.
Wesley Financial Group is not a law firm.
This story is called The Ugly Truth About Timeshare. If you think you've done your family a favor by buying a timeshare, you need my help. Hello, I'm Chuck McDowell, CEO and founder of Wesley Financial Group. 10 years ago, I started helping folks cancel their timeshare. And in the process, started what's now called the timeshare cancellation industry. Timeshare is the only thing that you can buy that you can't tell me how much it's going to cost or when it's going to end. When you buy a timeshare, you give them a blank check to fill out any amount they want for annual maintenance and assessment fees. The crazy thing is, this never ends. Even when you die, your family's now going to be stuck with this burden. Stop the insanity today. Call my office now. If we take you as a client, I guarantee we'll cancel your timeshare or you'll pay nothing.
Call for your free information kit. 800-462-3333. That's 800-462-3333. 800-462-3333.
Val's Pumpkin Patch and Apple Orchard has something fun for all ages. Come take a ride on the antique cars, where the kids are the drivers. Visit our foam ball play area called the Egg Scramble. Stop by the cider mill area where you can have a drink of refreshing apple cider and taste some deliciously good barbecue at Ethan's Applewood Smokehouse. Val's has more than 50 other attractions included with admission, along with fireworks every Friday night at 9. Vala's, the place to visit this fall.
If you love food, love fun, love fall, you'll love Vala's Pumpkin Patch best of all.
I'm Omaha Athletic Director Adrian Dow, and I want to introduce you to 3 Omaha schools that are playing a vital role in keeping our community strong. We serve nearly 600 pre-K through 8th grade students, most of whom come from disadvantaged neighborhoods. These students receive a values-based education with the family support they need. I'm a proud member of the CUES Fund Board, which supports the CUES school system. To learn more, go to CUES Schools, that's CUES schools.org.
This hour is powered by Dollar General Distribution Center in Blair, Nebraska on 1620 The Zone. Let it fly. Your elevated sports bar experience. KOZ and Bellevue, Omaha, Council Bluffs. This is 1620, The Zone. Now back to mornings with Sharp and Handley on 1620, The Zone.
Hat Time brought to you by Heart Cigars and Pipes Lounge. Just off 680 and 48th Street next to Cubby's. It's Heart Cigars and Pipes Lounge.
Shout out to the late Husker Bob. If you were on Twitter yesterday, our friends over in Iowa had quite the debate about this time of the year, because yesterday felt like a first real soup day. If you're into soup.
We're doing chili and soup.
Are you anti-soup now? Just like the chicken?
Chili and soup is Skyline Chili out of Cincinnati, where you got noodles, beans, and a bunch of soup.
Well, there's the debate, though. Is chili actually a soup?
No,
that's chili.
Okay. Debate seems hard. I'm not getting into that. But the discussion on Twitter was about the whole chili and cinnamon roll. So this is the whole thing. Apparently we were told that we had this in school. I don't remember. But I saw a lot of discussion from my friends that I follow that are in the Iowa media that someone said, is this a real thing? And they show a picture, and it's the chili. And the cinnamon roll is actually in the chili. That's not how it works.
No.
Okay, just ask Runza.
Yeah.
Okay? They do it probably the best of anybody.
Mm-hmm.
The cinnamon roll doesn't go in the chili. That's all you need to know. And if you see it like that, that's not
Run.
Kick that person out of your circle of trust.
Yeah.
Okay, so that came up yesterday. So it must be getting cool outside. All right, Iowa, you don't know how to do that. We know how to do it on this side, but that's not what we live and die for. People think that all we are is chili and cinnamon rolls, and we're real weird and stuff. Just sometimes you have to just, defend it and give truth. And not everybody eats chili and cinnamon rolls in Nebraska.
It's also very true.
I've tried it. I get it.
It was never a thing.
Well, people say it's a Nebraska thing, and I'm like, I don't know that's a Nebraska thing.
They do it in Kansas, too.
Well, we didn't. When we had chili and growing up in school, we did not have the cinnamon roll with it. We just had cornbred.
Yeah,
that's
exactly.
what we had. Where I came from.
But I was following this discussion. I'm like, you know what? In school we had it. I'm like, no,
we didn't.
I went to the greatest grade school with the greatest lunch lady that was not like a child predator or had felonies. She was the real deal.
That's good.
And she never forced the cinnamon roll on us.
No.
Okay. She might have forced the square pizza that ironically fit into the square on your tray.
Absolutely.
Which was really, really odd. That you think about, 30 plus years later, but you never thought about in the moment because you just gobbled it up with chocolate milk.
Yeah.
Yeah. We do it right. You can have the chili. You can have the cinnamon roll. I prefer just the chili on its own.
Yeah.
I like cinnamon rolls in the morning.
I'm with you.
Don't put the cinnamon roll in the chili.
No.
What are you doing?
And then be like, what the hell is this?
Yeah.
What are you guys thinking?
See, my wife, they had that in school.
They had the cinnamon roll?
Chili. I was like, yeah.
And she's Omaha or Lincoln?
No, she's like Geneva.
Oh, Geneva. Okay.
She's a Geneva?
Yeah.
We never had that. And I remember people like, oh, well, you obviously grew up around that. I'm like, no, I really didn't. Because when I went to Runza, I would have a Runza, and of all things, call me a weird kid, I like clam chowder, and they had good clam chowder. So I had clam chowder.
You strike me as a clam chowder guy.
Yeah, the clam chowder was good. I'm a little particular in my clam chowder these days. It is. But can I bring up a school lunch thing real quick? Because
sure.
Did you guys all have to take turns of doing lunch duty?
No.
My parents paid enough money to the school that they never made me do stuff
Whoa!
like that.
I just ate
Never mind. That's okay. Good on you. I went to Norris Elementary. Then when we moved, I went to Nyhart, but both in the Millard area. It was at Nyhart when I had to do my lunch duty, and I will never forget. Like I like hot dogs, but I could never eat a school hot dog after I did lunch duty, because when we were doing cleanup and we just had the hot dogs, they were just put in this big bucket, like a baseball bucket, like something you'd see coaches sitting on.
A spittoon.
It was just it had to be dozens and dozens of hot dogs just sitting in this bucket. And as a 9-year-old kid, it freaked me the F out. And I could never eat the school. I could eat a hot dog at a ball game.
Okay.
Had no problem doing that. But I could never eat the school hot dog. In fact, when I saw my friends eating the school hot dog, it kind of made me want to Ralph. I don't know why. It's just the vision of all of those hot dogs just sitting in there. And they look like once upon a time they were cooked. Freaked me out. They weren't raw hot dogs.
You should go to your local convenience store and just stare at the roller.
Yeah. Again, the smell of that, I overcome because of the smell. It smells good, really good.
Thank you for.
Yeah, you're welcome.
If you need to step outside of the studio,
it was a traumatizing moment.
Doesn't beat the smell of
school hot dogs.
Dave Raymond coming up at the bottom of the hour, the television voice of the Texas Rangers. They are one of the Final Four in baseball. We will get to Dave, Mike Schaefer, Matt Verzal as well. But it's time for a giveaway. We have a pair of tickets to go see Mr. Saturday Night, who will actually be in Omaha on a Monday or on a Friday. Like when he's performing on a Saturday night somewhere, is it bigger?
Yeah, you get a better show.
Yeah,
I would think so.
He looks like a cowboy. I like John Party.
But I think a Friday show would be good too.
Yeah, well, this upcoming Friday, a week from tonight at Baxter Arena, he'll be there. We have 2 tickets to give away. In the business, they call that a pair.
Mm-hmm.
I set it up. You guys set up the game.
Yes.
And good luck to anybody that would like to go see John Party. Here's your opportunity. Listen closely to the PA voice of Nick Handley.
Yes, okay. So now the number you need to know, by the way, 402-951-1620. All right, so the first one to get this athlete, because now we are in a time of celebrity athlete power couples with the strength of Travis Kelce and one Taylor Swift. And, of course, we know that there are others that exist out there. So if you can name this athlete, you got to be the first caller, and then you will get the pair of tickets. Okay, so this couple originated back in the 2013 when they first started dating. And it was when they were able to be seen publicly at a baseball game, embracing and kissing. This supermodel jumped on her fiance to congratulate him after a big win in 2017 on the baseball field. The two actually had to postpone their wedding because of the playoffs. And they ended up getting married in Italy. If you know the athlete that I'm talking about, 951-1620. It is a celeb athlete power couple. Feel like I gave you enough hints there. I already gave you the answer, so I'm sure. But you know who it is, don't you?
Yes.
Okay.
I'm observing Jimmy here talking to people that might be calling the wrong station.
Yeah.
I want to say something, but I want to make sure that we have that. Yep. Okay. So we have a winner.
We do have a winner.
Who would have thought that Justin Verlander and Max Scherzer will actually pitch in the ALCS?
That's true. Yeah. And not for the team that they started the season with.
Yeah. So
a lot of people in New York could be upset about that.
Kate Upton and Justin Verlander are the answer.
That is the power couple. That when we all got to be introduced.
Did you download their pictures when their phone got hacked?
No, I didn't.
Jimmy got what I was saying. You didn't?
No, I didn't download it.
You observed it?
I observed it.
Share it?
Didn't we all?
We had a lot of listeners who are like, hey, I don't know what you guys are doing right now, but you have seen these pictures. All of a sudden, into our text messages was like
a lot of Kate Upton.
Carissa Thompson, Kate Upton, Gabby Union.
Yep.
My gal on Big Bang Theory.
Gabby Union, by the way, could have been another power couple with Dwayne Wade. We could
have that is absolutely true.
Yeah.
All right, so we have a winner. So congratulations to whoever Jimmy is talking to. You are going to see John Party at Baxter Arena, where tonight you actually have hockey between Omaha and Niagara to kick off the college hockey season.
Indeed, we do.
Kind of the first couple of months gets lost because football is still going on.
Yeah. They got kind of an interesting series in 2 weeks against Ohio State as well. That used to be kind of a big deal when you would get some of those now Big Ten teams, but like the Michigan, obviously Michigan and Notre Dame, who's in the Big Ten for hockey, in case you didn't know out there. But yeah, when you get Michigan State, Ohio State, and they were playing over at the CenturyLink Center, that would actually get a decent crowd.
Roger's our winner.
Roger, good job. Way to know, Justin Verlander was the dude. That you get some of those Big Ten teams. It was interesting because I don't think anybody really knew much about like their hockey programs. And, Michigan State had a good one for a while. Wisconsin, Ohio State for a couple of years too, when UNO would play them a little bit more regularly. But it would be funny to get a lot of the fans that would show up just because of they recognize the brand itself. Ohio State. They want to see the gold helmets of Notre Dame or Wisconsin. But as far as like how they were in hockey, I don't think a lot of people maybe knew how they were.
So we were talking earlier about expectations for Nebraska football in the last 6 games.
Mm-hmm.
Isn't the minimum expectation to get to St. Paul? Like Mike Gabbana is beginning his 7th year.
It's got to be.
I mean, it's a great job to have because I don't know how much pressure there is. I mean, it's just, they draw well. People like going to Baxter Arena.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. If I'm a hockey fan of Omaha, I would like to get to St. Paul, which is still one of the craziest things of all the really good teams Omaha hockey has had. They've never made it to St. Paul to play in the Final Four for NCHC.
The frozen face-off.
Yeah. I saw I guess it was it was Brad who does a great job covering North Dakota. Then they have I think he wrote a story, is Gabbana on the hot seat? It's year 7, right?
It is.
Last year they had a good year.
Yep.
They got knocked out by not a typical North Dakota team.
Very true.
The league was down last year, so they weren't able to make it to St. Paul, which was disappointing because that was a good team. I don't know. I know people around the program that I talked to, they're excited. They love their goaltending. They got some young players. Isn't the minimum expectation to make it to St. Paul? And if you don't, you have to ask some hard questions.
I think so, because
it's ever going to happen with all the money you put into Omaha hockey.
I would agree with that, because I think that's the natural progression of where you are as a hockey program, and you've had a couple now recruiting cycles. And then here's something else to add on to it, and this is why I think it ramps up the pressure on this season, is you had guys that returned that they weren't sure if they were going to return, guys like Matt Miller, Jack Randall. You've got, I would even throw in Nolan Krenzen, who's been a mainstay for this team. Brock Bremer is a good player. He can give you some quality minutes too. And then you mentioned goaltending too with Simon Lacoste, even though he's a younger player.
He's really good.
He is. And so you've got guys that decided to return because I think they had that taste in their mouth from a year ago where they were so close to getting that game 3 of the first round of the NCHC playoffs. And I think they realized if they could stay intact, that core could stay intact, given what some of the younger players project to be and what they already showed, like guys like Jacob Slipik a year ago, that you could be in that spot again and hopefully knock down that door. I think you have to hold that you have to hold this program to that standard.
Now,
it is time to do that. Otherwise, you continue to spin your tires in the mud.
No, it's the best hockey conference in America, and there are the usual stalwarts that are at the top of the conference. But Omaha invests a lot of money into hockey, and they got a great facility. They got a great fan base. But I think it would be tough to convince someone moving forward if you don't make it to St. Paul. And I'm not saying you got to make it to the NCAA tournament. I mean, essentially, Mike Gabbana, in 6 years, he went to one NCAA tournament because one team with COVID couldn't do. And so you were next up. So they didn't earn their way into the NCAA tournament, and they got absolutely crushed. Okay? I expect more out of Omaha hockey. I might be alone, but if you're not able to get out of the opening round, the quarterfinals, and make it to the semifinals, and you're in year 7, there has to be hard discussions about where the program is going. Because they have so many things at their fingertips to be successful, to at least be top 4 every year in that league.
Well, and that's what you bring up there is the investment is the key thing, because the pushback you're always going to get on this conversation is, yeah, but man, it's the NCHC. Everybody is good, sans Miami. Like, everybody is good. So on any given weekend, you could lose that series. I would say this, if you're not making it to the frozen face-off, the quarterfinals of the NCHC tournament, you had better at least do kind of like what Dean Blaze did. You better at least be in that large NCAA tournament team. I mean, you better have that backstop of, okay, you didn't get out of it, but your pairwise is still good enough that most likely you're going to be in the NCAA tournament. I mean, the year in 2015 when the Mavs made it to Boston for the Frozen Four, they weren't, I mean, they've never won it. So, I mean, they've never won that first round. So, they were hosting that year as well. They did enough early in the season. And that's why weekends like this are very important, because here's another thing that you can put on Coach Gabbana's tab is you've had some early season hiccups against teams that have really bad pairwise or RPIs.
Well, last year was Niagara, the opening series.
And you've got Niagara tonight, and you have to avoid those. So that's part of it, because this is where I will give Gabbana and UNO credit. They have played some damn good hockey down the stretch in the second half of the NCHC schedule. I remember 2 years ago where they went on like this death march of beating Denver in a series, either splitting or winning and tying with St. Cloud State. Then North Dakota they split with as well. Like, they had a lot of success against top 20 teams and some of the top teams in the NCHC. But some of the damage that had occurred early in the season, it was unrecoverable from a pairwise standpoint. So you weren't looking at being one of the at-large teams in the NCAA tournament. So again, I'm more in line with you as far as at some point you got to hold this program to a standard of, are you being one of those teams? Not every year, because that is where the challenge of this conference is. So I wouldn't say every year you need to be in that second weekend of the NCHC tournament, but 1 out of every 4 years, I don't think that that's unreasonable to ask, because, as you said, there is a lot of investment going into this. This goes all the way back to when Trev Alberts was the athletic director, and they labeled this athletic department a hockey school. Okay, if you're a hockey school, yes, in a hockey conference that's extremely, extremely challenging, you still got to have your moment. I mean, you've seen Miami make it to the NCHC tournament.
Yeah, that's why last year felt like it was an opportunity to break through, because I thought the league was down.
Yep.
North Dakota was super young. Minnesota Duluth was young. Denver was still Denver.
Yeah.
Western Michigan's got a really good program. But you had a good team that played really well in the second half of the season. And to come up short at home when it was kind of, especially when you went on Friday night and then North Dakota takes the next two, that was a missed opportunity. They're not ranked in the preseason top 20. I think they're better than what kind of was in the preseason NCHC poll. The league is tough, but if you're not in St. Paul, I don't know how you can move forward with a head coach who's been here 7 years and has never gotten out of the opening round to get to St. Paul, and has been to the NCAA tournament once, and that was because somebody else couldn't go because of COVID. I mean, it's got Omaha has to be successful at hockey.
They do.
And you would be on a 7-year run, and I don't think it'd be working.
Yeah, success to me is one of two things. Either you have done what this Maverick hockey program has not done in the NCHC, and that is make it to the Frozen Face. Tournament.
All right,
one of those two.
They open up this weekend against Niagara. They'll welcome back all of the Omaha wrestlers. That should be a big moment coming up on Saturday. All right, Dave Raymond, television voice of the Texas Rangers, will join us shortly. Last hour, Schaefer and Vers on Mornings with Sharp and Handley on 1620 The Zone.
Gary Sharp, Nick Handley, and Jimmy Chavez. Mornings with Sharp and Handley. Weekdays 6 to 10. On 1620 The Zone. 1620thezone.com. Mornings on 1620 The Zone is brought to you by MD West One Orthopedics, Neurosurgery, and Spine. Previously on The Crossover.
Bacon is the most flavorful food in the whole world.
Bacon to a baby, and then give the baby a piece of sausage. The look on the child's face when they eat the bacon, mind blowing.
Can you trust a child for your food takes, and that's your problem?
Yes.
That's the problem.
Yes, there you go.
Hey, look at this baby. That baby knows.
Mornings with Sharp and Handley. The Connor Happer Show on Sportsmanlike Conduct. 6A to 6P, 1620. The Zone. Your Omaha area forecast presented by Bellevue Berry and Pumpkin Ranch from the KETV Newswatch 7 Weather Center on 1620 The Zone.
Few spotty showers rolling through the area this morning. Some of those may linger into the afternoon as well. Our winds are going to pick up too out of the northwest at around 15 to 30 miles per hour this afternoon, keeping our temperatures down, hitting a high of around 56 degrees today. I'm meteorologist Luke Vickery, KETV Newswatch 7.
1620 The Zone. Traffic.
From the Zoom Drain Time-Saving Traffic Center. We have no accidents to report at this time. You can expect some slowdown from 192nd to 168th on Center. Then on Dodge, it looks like there's going to be a little bit of traffic buildup from 77th to 75th. And along L, be prepared for a little bit of a delay from 96th to 79th. As always, remember to stay safe and wear your seatbelts. I'm Chris Scott. This time-saving traffic was brought to you by Fernando's.
Reason number 237 to love Fernando's.
A helpful smile in every aisle. If you know, you know.
Fernando's Pico, Queso Blanco, Artichoke Dip, and famous flour chips are now available at your local Hy-Vee. Now it's even easier to get your Fernando's fix.
Standard Heating and Air Conditioning is and has always been locally owned and operated. Now, with 160 employee owners, chances are one of us lives in your neighborhood. We take pride in taking care of you, our customers, and keeping you comfortable all year round. And as always, our technicians don't have sales quotas. When other companies send salespeople, Standard sends qualified technicians. It's just part of.
Carrier, turn to the experts.
Hi, this is Doug Nodgard with Equitable Bank. Great service never goes out of style.
When the digital age dawned, many said computers would be able to handle many of the interactions that used to take a person. Boy, were they wrong. How many times have you called your bank and gotten a recording to press 1 or 2? Not at Equitable. Not only does Equitable answer your call in the first ring, it's answered by a human being. That's because Equitable Bank values its customers. Equitable Bank, we take banking personally. Member FDIC.
Follow your imagination to the Bellevue Berry and Pumpkin Ranch. Bring the whole gang and explore for treasure on the pirate shipwreck. See how the West was fun. Pretend you're a superhero as you jump on giant bounce pads. Maybe reserve your own campfire rental where you can roast marshmallows and tell stories. It's all up to you. And of course, go on a hayride and grab your own pumpkin. Priced by the size, not the pound. Follow your imagination at the Bellevue Berry and Pumpkin Ranch. 48th between Cornhusker and Highway 370. More info at BellevueBerryFarm.com.
An estimated 80% of Americans aren't getting their recommended daily amount of physical activity. It's time to move and keep moving, America. And when you need help, physical therapists and physical therapist assistants are by your side. Be your own champion. Choose more movement. Choose better health. Choose physical therapy. Find out more information and a physical therapist at choosept.com/NE. Brought to you by the American Physical Therapy Association of Nebraska.
Announcing the 42 Degrees Botanical Bonanza. We're planting all kinds of low prices all over the store at every location. Save up to 50% on Delta, CBD, and Kratom. You heard right, up to 50% on all our CBD, Kratom, and Delta 8 products. Get to 42degrees.com. Then stop by and talk to the most knowledgeable, friendly, and professional staff. It's a Botanical Bonanza at your source for all your premium Kratom, Delta 8, and CBD. By your mom's house.
We created a simple PDF that gives you everything you need to know about branding, designing, and building a website that increases revenue. Download the website playbook for free at jmonline.com. If you're considering a website project but not sure who to hire, go to jmonline.com and download the free website playbook. It's a guide to a high-performing website. That's jmonline.com.
Make the right call, fans. The Rooferees at John Higgins Weather Guard.
And we're back. Mornings with Sharp and Handley. Here's Gary, Nick, and Jimmy on 1620 The Zone.
Oh, Astro fans are going to be triggered by Creed. The ALCS is set. It is Texas and Houston, the Battle of Texas. On the other side, Arizona and Philadelphia. Our good friend Dave Raymond, television voice of the Texas Rangers, joins us. Good morning, sir. Are you ready for what is about to happen between the Rangers and the Astros?
Yeah, man. I mean, like a lot of folks, I've been waiting a long time for this. You got two teams in this state, and every year we try to pass it off as a rivalry when we get together. And at times it's been heated, but I think for the longest time, everybody's just been hoping for a time when the two teams would be good simultaneously, and maybe the games would take on a little more importance. And so here we are playing for a state championship and a chance to go to the World Series.
Hey, you've been around the game for a long time, so you know teams, and you've been part of teams that they have what it takes to get there. And then there are teams that have what it takes to win this time of the year. And a lot of it is timing, or it's a red-hot lineup that was unstoppable early in the season with the Rangers and then went through a lull and got red-hot at the perfect time. How would you describe what has happened over the 5 games that the Rangers have just looked absolutely dominating to extinguish the Rays and the Orioles, two really good teams during the 162-game season?
Yeah, so the club had a workout yesterday, as they typically do on these off days between series, and I talked to a handful of guys about that, and the answer that more commonly came up was just a real blunt, well, we got healthy. I mean, what do you mean? What kind of question is that? We're just finally healthy, and I think there's a real argument there. Now, they also will happen to have added this kid Evan Carter from the minor leagues. He's now been with the club for a month, a portion of which now has been in the postseason. So he's been a huge difference as well. He's 21 years old. He doesn't even know what he doesn't know. But he's got a presence and a calm about him, and he's been just terrifically productive, very good defensively. That certainly made a difference. But I think you're right. I think a lot of what they say about that is correct. They were struggling with injuries down the stretch. They were tired, just like every team. But they have some, there's some holes in the Rangers as just in a broader sense, certainly in the bullpen, and there's some weakness at starting pitching on occasion. When you throw injuries into that, it was glaring and it was a real problem. So they're healthy now, or at least a lot more healthy. And I think they feel like, from the standpoint of their lineup, they really are, for the first time since maybe May or June, fully healthy 1-9. And I think that's a big part of it. And that lineup, when it's operating the way it's designed to operate, is just ferocious. So that's a big part of it. They got clicking at the right time. And now you just hope that a couple of days off here prior to this series won't slow that down.
Dave, I want to go back to when this thing started in the postseason for you guys and your experience. You've been to many ballparks and you've been at different levels of the season too. So I maybe not a lot surprises you, but I know you've been to Tampa many times. I should say St. Pete many times, but I know that you've been to that ballpark. You open up in the postseason in a Tampa Rays team that has been really good. And yet we're all watching this on TV and we're thinking, man, this looks like another weekday game in the regular season. Was that as someone who, is probably a little extra energized with the postseason, does that take anything away from your broadcast? And was that surprising to you that it was kind of typical Trop?
A little bit, because in years past, they have had the ability to get people in there for postseason games. I think they were just so good this year that people assumed there would be a second or third round to the postseason. Kind of like you'll remember the days when Atlanta ran off 14 straight division titles in the National League East. And there were years where in the LCS, they wouldn't be able to sell out the stadium. And you're like, what is going on? These people just take this for granted. I think at some level they did. And, we'll show up for the World Series. And I don't know if that's exactly what was going on in Tampa, but it's also not shocking when something like that happens in Tampa. One of the funnier things that happened, Corey Seager a couple of days ago spoke, I guess this was prior to Game 3 against the Orioles, and it was the first game back, the first home game for the Rangers in this postseason in this ballpark ever.
Yeah.
And so we're all kind of curious and excited and wanted to see what was going to happen. So somebody asked him about it. Another reporter leans into me and said, hey, ask him if that 2020 World Series prepared him for Tampa. Because, it was like definitely a similar atmosphere in Tampa,
right?
Which was sad. That was very disappointing. It was also shocking to me that the Rangers went in there and had as much success as they did against Tampa, because that is a tough place to play, whether they have fans there or not.
Hey, do we need to spend any time on the format of the playoffs? Because it seems like a lot of people are.
Well, I do. I think you should. And the Rangers may be quote unquote beneficiaries of it this year. It certainly seems as if teams that came out of the regular season and just kept playing benefited from that. Houston's the only team that got that first round bye that advances. The rest of the teams left now in this Final Four all played in that wild card round. So the Dodgers, after their great season, no chance. Just wiped off the face of the playoffs in 3 games by Arizona. What? That doesn't make sense. Baltimore, same thing. Baltimore looked like they were just caught standing still. And, of course, because you were. I mean, you were caught standing still. And, everybody's playing their simulated games and doing whatever they can to try and stay fresh and sharp. But, you can't simulate that. You can't do it. You can't even simulate a regular season game, let alone a postseason intensity. So, no, I think that the way it's set up right now is not right, and I think it's going to have to be addressed sooner or later. It's been this way for a while since the wild card has emerged. I think it's been a problem.
I was, as I think a lot of people were, and again, going back to just the start of the postseason too, and watching the acquisition of Jordan Montgomery and how big that was and what he was able to do in that opener. but also what he has meant to this rotation. Did his production surprise you at all during that acquisition? I mean, did you think that he would be as big of a piece of this rotation as he's become now, especially at this point of the season?
I guess the thing was when they acquired him, we were in San Diego at the time, at the deadline, and when the deal was made. And it felt like starting pitchers were dropping like flies. We had just lost Scherzer. Martin Perez had finally just hit a wall. It was like, well, I don't think he could start another game for us.
Mm-hmm.
John Gray was experiencing some problems. So it was like, look, whoever they brought in, whatever starter they went out and got, you had to think to yourself, well, he's going to be huge. I mean, he's going to be really important because they need, they needed help. And so, I think when they got him, just because he's always been a workhorse and a guy who gives, so many innings, even if that's all he did and they were mediocre, you figured that would be a huge help because at the time, it just wasn't clear where they were going to get innings. So now the way he has since then stepped into this role as basically the ace of the staff, that's a little bit surprising. I think he has it in him. I don't think that was ever a question that he could be that good.
Mm-hmm.
It was just, Nathan Eovaldi had been so good, but was hurt at the time. I didn't see Jordan becoming that guy. And he also had two clunkers down the stretch with us, two just really rough starts. I thought, man, I don't know, maybe he's out of juice, but he's that guy's a battler, man. And you look back to his time with the Yankees, even his time with the Cardinals this year, and during the regular season with us, none of those teams, for whatever reason, seem to want to score runs for him.
Mm-hmm.
So when he pitches, he gets no run support. He'll pitch, 7 innings, give up a run, but lose. Well, that's not right. I think he had 4 or 5 starts with St. Louis this year where the Cardinals were just shut out. Well, he can't win those games. Yeah. It's impossible. So he's a much better pitcher than certainly the record would ever indicate. And the play he made in Tampa, and your listeners probably weren't dialed into it like the rest of us, but he made a diving play on a bunt attempt on the first baseline. And it was crazy. He's such a huge man and made this great play. And you could just see the rest of the team looking around like, whoa, so that's what we're doing here. Okay. All right. And it really, I think, keyed everybody up. It was a huge, huge moment for them. It was early in game 1, but I think it really set a tone. He's been huge.
Dave Raymond, television voice of the Texas Rangers. I know, I can't recall off the top of my head, but I know that I've seen a Bruce Bochy team lose a series in the postseason. And I say that a little sarcastically, but when you get to this moment and how good he is, and he's won World Series titles, he's won LCSs with San Diego and San Francisco. What's the impact when you make the move through round 1, round 2, and now to a best of 7 that Bruce Bochy even more so comes into play?
I'm so glad you brought this up because it's hard sometimes to steer the conversation this way, but Bruce Bochy look, man, he's the baseball whisperer. I just saw a note about this, but for managers who have managed at least 10 postseason series, he has the best winning percentage in the history of the game. He's 15-5 in postseason series. That's absurd. He's lost. So to your point, I'm sure he's lost a series. Yes, he has. They're rare. He's lost 5 of them out of the 20 that he's managed. So, and then I saw another note that if he can somehow engineer a win in this series against Houston, he will be the first manager in Major League history to win an LCS with 3 different franchises. So those types of things tell you a lot, but they don't really get to the core of who he is or what he does. And he is a very, very special manager. Look, we want to have all the information. We want to make the right decisions. Of course, that's the job of the manager. And in a lot of franchises, that's what it's boiled down to. Well, put the right lineup out there, get the right pitchers in the right spots. Those decisions, if we can optimize those, then we should win a lot of games. Okay, fine. But there's another really, really big part to this, and that's managing people. And that doesn't mean telling them what to do. It means helping them feel good about what they do, helping them be confident in what they do, all those types of things. And it's not by like some manual that he got in a business school class or something about how to manage people. Mm-hmm. His genius is his ability to relate and care for other people. And by other people, I mean everybody, bus drivers, broadcasters, doesn't matter. He just has a genuine interest in who you are. And with his players, it really resonates. He's not faking it. He's not trying to curry favor. He's just that guy. And then when the time comes and he asks you for something or he tells you something, it has more meaning because he's invested in you and you feel that. And that's really the secret sauce for him. And I think it's good for however they want to measure it, right? 3 wins a year, whatever the advantage is. And he's also smart. He's been through all the wars. He knows little things to expect, little things to prepare for. I've seen it all summer long, just decisions he's made, maybe even on off days to give guys time or whatever. He's very, very good at what he does. And there's a reason he makes as much money as he does. There's a reason he's had the success that he does or has had. He's brilliant at this job.
Dave, you've obviously seen enough of Houston to answer this question, I think, with a pretty good opinion. If Texas advances to the World Series, how will they have done that against this Houston team?
With their eyes closed and both hands on the wheel, I mean, just white knuckling it. It's going to be. Look, they could do it. They're going to have to stay as hot as they have been. They're going to have to just score a ton of runs because I think you can compare the lineups and say they're both really good lineups and they're both really deep. The biggest hole that Houston has is Martin Maldonado in that lineup. And unfortunately, from the Rangers' standpoint, Martin Maldonado slaughters their pitching. I don't know why, but he does. Everybody else gets him out, but the Rangers haven't figured out how to retire Martin Maldonado. Outside of that, the lineups are almost identical. Rangers have a very solid one, so does Houston. Their starting pitching has really emerged. They were banged up most of the season. Guys were off, kilter, whatever. They seem to have dialed it in now. And I think the starting pitching would be even maybe a slight advantage to Houston. The bullpens, it's not even close. Not even close. Houston has a great bullpen. The Rangers have an historically bad bullpen. And the fact that they are where they are right now with the bullpen they have, it defies all baseball logic and reasoning and 150 years of math. There's no sense to it at all. So that's why I say they have to score a ton of runs. They're going to have to, if they go into the late innings with a 4-run lead, we're white knuckling that. If it's a 6-run lead, you feel like, okay, I'm going to be paying close attention. They need to be up by 8 runs. They need to be up by 8 runs after the 6th inning. Otherwise, you're rolling the dice. Could they win a close game late? Yeah, it could happen. But you certainly shouldn't be counting on that. So they're going to have to score a ton. That's how they're going to have to beat Houston because Houston's probably going to score some runs as well, and they're going to be able to get to your bullpen late. So it's a great test. It's time. Mm-hmm. It's time for somebody other than Houston to advance. It's time for them to be knocked out. But and there's no team that would want that more, I don't think, than the Rangers want it. But it's going to take a pretty much flawless series to get it done.
What do you think happens in the NLCS now that it's set with Philadelphia beating Atlanta last night?
I feel like the Phillies have some real mojo going. And I do feel like, and the same's going to hold true in the Rangers and Astros, but that the experience in the postseason is meaningful. I think we saw it in the Rangers last series. They've got, while the Rangers themselves have been, blocked out of this for a long time, they have guys on this roster who have been big parts of postseason runs, Corey Seager and Eovaldi and Scherzer, et cetera. So they had some experience that Baltimore didn't have. And I think it really mattered. Well, I think the same's going to hold true. Houston has that advantage over the Rangers. And I think in the National League, in a really big way, Phillies' run last season is big. They seem to have a real sense for the moment right now, and they are not backing down. They're not scared. They feel there's a certain bravado and confidence and arrogance to that team right now that's kind of intimidating, especially with their crowd, right? That's an intense club to play at that ballpark. Whereas Arizona, kind of fresh face, a little bit new to this right now, and they're playing well. They're young. They've got a lot of talent, but I think the moment could get a little bigger for them in a way that it might not for Philadelphia. I just think the Phillies are pretty good offensively, and their pitching's been pretty good. I kind of see Philly taking this one. I don't want to say in a short series, but I don't think it's going much past 5.
As always, Dave, man, we always appreciate the conversation. Enjoy the ride. You know these guys, you know the clubhouse, and it has to be a great experience with what's going on with the Rangers, and hopefully the ride continues for a couple of more weeks.
Indeed. Thank you, guys.
Hey, Dave, real quickly, if you guys do somehow pull this whole thing through, can we get whether it's a Game 6, 7 World Series, can we get a morning after phone call with you?
Sure.
Okay. And I don't even care what state you're in. I'm talking about state of mind. I'm not talking about what state you're actually in. That's what we want.
Yeah. Sure.
All right.
Let's do it. Let's count on it.
Hey, great stuff, Dave. Thank you.
You bet. See you guys.
The ALCS begins on Sunday. NLCS begins on Monday.
Pretty accurate assessment.
Yes, there is for the Houston guy over there. I can't go against the Astros.
I can't either.
It is bonkers that they are
Me
in
either.
7 straight ALCS. I don't care if they beat on trash cans or whatever, or they cheated. They're in 7 straight ALCSs. I have a hard time betting against Houston.
They'd fit in the SEC.
I know Texas is playing well. Evaldi is a witch.
Yes.
Their bullpen, which has been much maligned, all of a sudden is, but still Chapman, whenever he comes in the game, whether he was wearing a Yankee Cub Royals or Ranger uniform, you're like,
Bruce gives them a chance, though.
I like a rematch from last year.
Yep.
Yeah. I agree with the NLCS. That's be about 5.
You're interesting with your teams, Jimmy.
Interesting in general.
You come across as confident in this one compared to maybe a Cowboys game. Do you feel confident, or are you a little?
That's because Jerry Jones and Mike McCarthy aren't running the Astros.
Okay.
There's a difference.
Well, even with your Jayhawks sometimes too. Sometimes there's a little uneasiness. So I was just I'll say this for the first time. I'm detecting confidence.
I have as much faith in Dusty as I do in Lance Leipold.
Okay.
Let's hear that way. And honestly,
life is good for you.
Yeah. Life is pretty good.
This is a good fall for you.
Although I don't know if it can top last year. They win the World Series on the same day that KU became bowl eligible, which was a miracle in itself. Yeah, I don't know how you top
household.
that this year.
That's a big that's a big day.
But yes, #blessed for someone who grew up going to a lot of Astros games when they weren't very good.
Yeah.
And you could easily get tickets. But they had an exploding scoreboard, so that was what I wanted to see.
I just remember
it's actually my first baseball memory.
When the Bad News Bears played in the dome, the Astrodome, and firing off pistols after every home run.
Yeah.
You don't realize, by the way, I think I've told you this, you being a Houston guy, you don't realize how small the Astrodome is compared to NRG Media Stadium. NRG Stadium.
We have a stadium?
Where the
awesome.
Where the Texans play. Like they're right next to each other. And like when you're driving, I can't remember what road it is before you turn right. You go towards Rice University.
It's like a hubcap.
Yeah. Hey.
And the Astrodome seemed bigger than life when I was a kid.
And the Astrodome is it is dwarfed by the football stadium.
I used to think Cowboy Stadium was enormous until the first time I ever laid eyes on Jerry World. I was like,
oh yeah,
Texas Stadium. That's a cute little stadium right there. But yeah, it's like pales in comparison of the mall that is Jerry World.
Yeah, like even Texas Stadium that was right there at the what was the freeways that were like right there.
There's like 3 intersect right there.
I mean, Texas Stadium was small.
Mm-hmm.
I love that place. And it seemed bigger than life.
Yeah, Jerry's World is mammoth.
Yeah,
like you go to US Bank Stadium, it is mammoth.
Yeah. SoFi, people say that's
Yeah, I'm wanting to go to SoFi. I've never been to Mercedes-Benz Stadium in Atlanta too, which looks to be pretty sizable and nice.
Yeah, now it's old.
I know it is. It's like yesterday's news.
It's I saw a Georgia game there. It's a great place to watch a game.
Yeah,
but yeah, now it seems like that's old.
Is it? I mean, is it pretty? It's pretty large though, right?
Yeah,
compared to yeah. US Bank Stadium. I've never watched football in there. I've only watched baseball in there, which is weird.
But still, you get time to walk around, I'm sure.
Oh, yeah. That, and then, but when we went to Bears-Cowboys Sunday Night Football in 2016, walking into Jerry World, and we got to go to, like, the corral before and all of that, but just walking in there is like,
See, I covered basketball there when Kansas played Michigan and Florida Gulf Coast was down there. Yeah. And the pictures I still have today are the big screen.
Of me doing the games?
Yeah. And then the smaller screen beneath the big screen.
Yeah.
Where our media seats were, you watched it on the screen because you couldn't see the court.
Same thing we did during the football game. We were behind the sidelines, so we were watching the screen a lot, which was kind of annoying.
And that's true. You were there too. So yeah, you know exactly. I was like, okay, how am I going to call this?
It was a tough place to call a game because, the floor is elevated and
you're at feet level. And
all right. The postseason gets underway on Sunday and on Monday. I don't know that the Diamondbacks outside of Gallen and Kelly have enough to slow down that Philadelphia Philly offense. But I mean, if it's the Astros and the Phillies again, I would not want to be law enforcement in Philadelphia. People will be out for blood. They'll be out for blood. But there will be 4 great atmospheres. I mean, kudos to baseball. You might get lost. The ratings I know are not great, but the atmospheres have been unbelievable in every single ballpark.
Yeah,
you like baseball.
Even even Chase Field, good on them too. Just the Trop was the Trop. It was an outlier, but not a big shock.
There. Except for that one. Okay, a discount. Tampa Bay. It's too bad that Baltimore couldn't get another game. Right. I mean, the atmosphere on the last Saturday and Sunday in Baltimore was great. All right, big thanks to Dave Raymond. Still to come, Mike Schaefer, Matt Varell on Mornings with Sharp and Handley on 1620 The Zone.
Mornings with Sharp and Handley on 1620 The Zone and 1620thezone.com. 1620 The Zone's 4-quarter pick'em returns. It's your chance to win $1,620. All you have to do is correctly pick 4 college or NFL games against the spread. Listen to qualify every weekday or enter online at 1620thezone.com. One lucky listener will be selected each week to make their picks live on air. Awesome. Go to 1620thezone.com for complete rules and contest details. It's 4-quarter pick'em with 1620 The Zone.
If you haven't updated your windows, you could be throwing money out the window. Don't let the cool air out. Upgrade today with J-Tech Construction. For a limited time, get 60 months with 0% interest. Plus, as an added bonus, every window gets a special rated UV upgrade for free. Save money, keep the cool air in, and be happier when you upgrade your windows with the official exterior experts of Nebraska Athletics. For more info, go to yourexteriorexperts.com. Subject to credit approval.
The brand new Dollar General Distribution Center in Blair is now hiring. Starting wage is up to $22 per hour with benefits including medical, dental, vision, 401k, and a $2,000 sign-on bonus. Apply today by texting DG Warehouse to 25000 or online at dollargeneral.com/careers. Again, apply today by texting DG Warehouse to 25000 or online at dollargeneral.com/careers. Dollar General can't wait to have you become a team member at their brand new distribution center.
Creighton Sports Update. The annual Creighton Volleyball Pink Out is this Friday. Join the Blue Jays at DJ Sokol Arena at 6, dressed in your best pink as the Georgetown Hoyas are in town for Big East play. Then, on Sunday, bring your costumes for a Creighton Volleyball Blue Jay Bash with pre-match trick-or-treating in the concourse before 1 p.m. First serve versus Villanova. Purchase your tickets to both matches today at gocreighton.com/buy.
1620 The Zone proudly supports Creighton Athletics.
Bring smiles to all when shopping online with Dell Technologies Gift Guide. Whether it's for the artist, the entrepreneur, the student, or the streamer, you'll find the perfect gift for everyone on your list. Dell.com/gift guide makes gifting easy with a carefully curated selection of our best tech. Shop now to explore our innovative PCs like the XPS 13 laptop, powered by the latest Intel Core processors, plus this season's top accessories. Visit Dell.com/gift guide today to get a jump on your holiday gift list. That's Dell.com/gift guide.
Attention sales professionals. NRG Media is looking for an accomplished business-to-business salesperson who wants to take their success and skills to a new level. Is this you? Our account executives work with local businesses to create marketing plans to help them get more customers. On-air, digital, on-site, audio, video, it's all part of what you can sell. A sales career with NRG lets you make a real difference. Get more info and apply online at nrgmedia.com. NRG Media is an equal opportunity employer.
Val's Pumpkin Patch and Apple Orchard has something fun for all ages. Come take a ride on the antique cars, where the kids are the drivers. Visit our foam ball play area called the Egg Scramble. Stop by the cider mill area where you can have a drink of refreshing apple cider and taste some deliciously good barbecue at Ethan's Applewood Smokehouse. Vallis has more than 50 other attractions included with admission, along with fireworks every Friday night at 9. Vallis, the place to visit this fall.
If you love food, love fun, love fall, you'll love Vallis Pumpkin Patch best of all.
Listen to 1620 The Zone weekdays for the Big Red Practice Report presented by Tickets for Less. Visit ticketsforless.com and use promo code The Zone to score incredible savings for your favorite team. It's the Big Red Practice Report brought to you by Tickets for Less.
1620 The Zone at 1620thezone.com. And we're back. Mornings with Sharp and Handley. Here's Gary, Nick, and Jimmy on 1620 The Zone.
Rule speech.
Oh, yeah? If we die, we die?
Like, gets it.
This next chapter, playing for Fred.
The GBR Rewind, was actually good. Can I say one disappointing thing? By the way, had nothing to do with shooting. Came through crystal clear. Maybe this is probably the baseball part of it, and you can relate to this too. Anytime there's like rain delays, it's like Comedy Central. It's some of the funnest things. You're pulling pranks. You're doing all kinds of crazy things. It was way too chill in that locker room during the lighting delay. Way too chill. Now, I get it. You're playing a different sport, and there's a lot of different things at play there. But I was hoping that they were – and when you're not used to delays, you probably don't know how to, like, spend the time and have fun and do different, like, quirky things and skits and whatnot. And it's not like they're challenging La Tech to some type of competition while they're inside. But – yeah, it was almost too mellow for my liking. I thought there'd be a lot of cooler things going on.
I was a quick takeaway from that and kind of watching during fall camp is guys that I used to think were so quiet and didn't have a voice. There are more guys that have voices.
Mm-hmm.
Like Isaac Gifford.
Yes.
Man, Isaac Gifford was a baller Friday night in Champaign a week ago tonight.
That was awesome.
Isaac Gifford, like you can tell, I just sense this. It doesn't have to be a Nebraska kid. I just sense that they make it special to be a Nebraska football player this year.
Yeah.
Like the coaches have invested in you, they've gotten to know you, and you've either reinvested into the program or you're investing for the first time. I just get that sense every time I hear
they're having
somebody
fun.
talks with their teammates.
Yep.
Yeah, and you know, that's a big thing that they started. That one of the first things, because Rule told this story kind of off to the side. He said one of their first meetings when they met with all the players is guys didn't necessarily know everybody in the program. Now, it's tough to know 120 guys, but like certain guys that were, you know, on the other side of the ball, they didn't know who they were. Like they knew their number and they could recognize them, but they didn't know their name. And he's like, how does that happen? Like just at least know their name. You don't have to know anything about like where they're from or like their background, but at least know their name. And so I think that's when he said, guys on his staff, we are going to get to know our kids so that they get to know everybody else. And I sense that when I hear the stuff that was released in the fall and then those two episodes is guys are either reinvesting in the program from the player standpoint or they're investing for the first time and they've made it special. It's special to play football at Nebraska again. And, you know, maybe that helps you the rest of the year and down the road it, you know, leads to that building with everybody else that's coming new into the program. All right, Mike Schaefer will join us next. Matt Virzel as well in the last hour of the week of bye-week football chatter on 1620 The Zone.
Mornings with Sharp and Handley returns in minutes on 1620 The Zone. Live from the Host Coffee Studio, this is 1620 The Zone. 1620 The Zone. Traffic.
From the Zoom Drain Time-Saving Traffic Center. We have no accidents to report at this time. You can expect some slowdown from 192nd to 168th on Center. Then on Dodge, it looks like there's going to be a little bit of traffic buildup from 77th to 75th. And along L, be prepared for a little bit of a delay from 96th to 79th. As always, remember to stay safe and wear your seatbelts. I'm Chris Scott. This time-saving traffic was brought to you by the Nebraska Lottery.
The Nebraska Lottery has raised over $951 million, which has helped to provide more than 117,000 college scholarships, save wildlife habitats across the state, and fund new facilities at the Nebraska State Fair. The Nebraska Lottery, helping to build a better Nebraska.
Oscar's Pizza and Sports Grill is always looking to make your game day bigger and better. Cheer on your favorite team this season in front of a 22-foot LED video wall showing up to 8 games at once. TVs are everywhere else you can look with a state-of-the-art audio and video system. Enjoy a big old pizza or award-winning char-buffed wings. There's just no better way to do your game day. Oscar's Pizza and Sports Grill, 173rd and West Center Road. And for takeout at 162nd and Maple.
Hey folks, Kent Pavelka again to tell you about your local concrete experts at Everlevel Concrete Repair. Now, if you have cracked, uneven concrete, Everlevel can fix it at a fraction of the cost compared to replacement. This is no Band-Aid. Their products are built to last. It gives your concrete the durable protection it needs, and there's still time. I chose Everlevel for my driveway, and I've got peace of mind with their long-term transferable warranty. Everlevel's products and customer service are top-notch, and that's why they've been voted Best of Omaha again this year. Say it with me. Everlevel, Everlevel, Everlevel.
Don't miss this week's Zone Deal.
This week's deal is from Scary Acres, voted the #1 best haunt in Omaha by Best of Omaha since 2019 and #1 best haunt in Omaha by the Omaha Choice Awards. This deal includes 2 super combo passes to get you into all 3 attractions for just $30. Scary Acres, 172nd and Giles. Pay just $30 for 2 super combo passes this Friday at 9 a.m.
Zone deals go fast. 9 a.m. Friday. 1620thezone.com.
Terrors of the night stalk among the trees. In the distance, fear awaits. A shriek, laughter, then silence. It's the season of darkness at the Ranch of Terror and Haunted Hayride. Spend an hour with nothing to protect you but your own screams. Bring your group and witness unspeakable horrors that test every fiber of your nerves. Hayride and House combo $30 or $19 separately. The Ranch of Terror and Haunted Hayride. BellevueBerryFarm.com.
If you think you're having transmission problems, you need a specialist, someone who can and will tell you exactly what's wrong. At Omaha Transmission, that's what we do. Some places just want to sell you a new transmission, but at Omaha Transmission, we make repairs that other shops can't or won't. Giving you options is what's kept us in business since 2005. We've even had people hear our ads, bring in their car, and experience the exact same scenario they heard. There is a place that will diagnose and fix your transmission. That place is Omaha Transmission.
Omaha Transmission, shift into running smooth.
Let it fly. Your elevated sports bar experience. KOZ and Bellevue, Omaha, Council Bluffs. This is 1620, The Zone. Now back to mornings with Sharp and Handley on 1620 The Zone.
All right, the correct answer is salsa. Let's see if Mike Schaefer has the correct answer. Good morning, Mike Schaefer from Husker 24/7 joins us. If you don't know what we're talking about, Schaefer yesterday in his boredom or his creative thinking said you have a single tortilla chip in front of you. There are bowls of the best type of each dip. Which container are you dunking the chip into? Bean, guacamole, queso, salsa. 14,000 people have observed this poll. I said salsa. You say?
For me, it's probably queso, but I'm shocked queso's a runaway winner here. I expected salsa or guacamole to put up a strong fight. Salsa in particular, because basically in the Midwest, if you go to a Mexican restaurant and they have the chips and the salsa on the table, like every time you walk by anyone's table, they've already smashed all of those things within like the first 3 minutes. So I kind of am surprised by these results. I also, the amount of just distaste people have for bean dip is unfortunate.
You're right.
Quality bean dip is good stuff.
That's actually a very, very true statement there.
I got to vote on this.
I'll say about this, by the way, the queso thing. Queso's, it's got a shelf life, man. You got to get it while it's hot, and then after a while, if it's been sitting there for a while, it turns into like concrete. So the salsa never lets you down. Salsa's just there. It doesn't let you down. So I'm gonna stick with salsa there.
Yeah, I mean, this whole thing just extended from as Gary correctly pointed out, was somewhat bored. And I was like, I've wondered this. I'm curious how people will respond. And then, of course,
for us up and out on Twitter, and everything's, you get a lot of feedback. We'll put it that way.
Matt Rule is out. He was he's still the head coach.
Whoa! Somebody just almost wrecked on Dodge.
This is breaking news.
So he went to see his tight end commit from Papillion La Vista. I know he's going to hang around the area. He is supposed to be to watch Grant Bricks. There's probably going to be a Carter Nelson sighting at a game. One quick question about Carter Nelson, and I know you went and watched him in person, and ironically, this school was there. Is this Notre Dame thing with Carter Nelson real or not?
I think it's real. I mean, I know Notre Dame is definitely, they're definitely not going to go down without a fight on this. When I asked him after that game, after they played Elgin a couple of weeks ago, he didn't rule it out. He also didn't say he was going. So it's going to be one of those things I'll be keeping my eye on. Sort of Tom Loy's reporting tomorrow. He's our Notre Dame guy for 24/7 Sports. Does a tremendous job. He's the first one who told me to keep an eye on this because he's pretty well connected over there, and he knows that Notre Dame loves Carter Nelson. They don't want to lose him. They really regard him as a critical part of what would be a great recruiting class for them and a critical part of this 2024 class in general, which I think is pretty fascinating because I think the opinion on Carter Nelson locally splits in so many different ways because he's playing 8-man football. So I think it's fascinating that a school like Notre Dame views them as highly as they do. It'll be fascinating if he were to, catch a flight over to Chicago and head over and be on the sidelines before that game. I'm not ready to sound the alarm. I think his connection to Matt Rule and to this class, this 2024 class, is really strong. They're making that drive every opportunity they've had to go see. I would bet he would be at the Northwestern game here in a couple of weeks. But I do know the family and Carter himself really like Marcus Freeman. They like Notre Dame, and that's going to be going to be one that you got to play a little bit of defense on. So it wouldn't surprise me at all if Ed Foley or somebody is out there to see Carter Nelson tonight.
Mike, are we worried about Kwan Lacey?
Absolutely, yeah. I mean, Kwan Lacey picked up an offer from Florida. Lane Kiffin stopped by the school this week. Matt Rule won't be down in Texas tonight, and so he's not going to see Kwan Lacey, but that they are certainly putting in the phone work and making sure that it is on no uncertain terms, that where everyone else kind of viewed him as the second running back in the class or backup option, Nebraska went to him right away and told him that you're our guy. Mm-hmm. And I think they really want to make that known. And he's someone who's having a good senior year. He's someone that I think a lot of schools really like. I think he could play early in his career. You're Nebraska, you're hammering the opportunity because you're going to have to go get a running back out of the portal anyways. And you're going to have a lot of carries that I think are going to be available in the 2024 season. So Kwan Lacey needs to be a big focal point. And just to kind of get it out of the way, the other two guys, I mean, I think that you really want to make sure Carlin Jones is happy with everything. He's the defensive lineman out of Texas. He's another guy that could play early in his career. I don't think there's another team to be worried about right there, but he's someone just certainly the Texas schools are going to circle, especially depending on how things go the next 6 weeks for Nebraska. And then the last one's to Corey Barney out of Miami, where Nebraska's had Philip Simpson, a staffer who's been out all week down in Miami. He was visiting with different coaches, stopping by different schools. So they have certainly made Miami a focal point. And Philip Simpson, a former head coach at Homestead High School down there in Florida, has plenty of connections. I thought that was a very wise use of this bye week, getting somebody out like that to represent you down there in an area where they want to recruit. I know they've had some misfires, but they are certainly making Miami a point of emphasis.
What is your minimum expectations for the last 6 games of the season?
Minimum expectations?
Yeah.
Are we talking win-loss? Or
you can talk win-loss, individuals, position groups, coaches.
Here's what my minimum expectations are. 2 wins, minimum. Mm-hmm. They should be able to win 2 more games at least. I think they'll win more, but they should be able to win 2 more games at least. And then I also expect Nebraska to look better. Like, I think the best is still to come for this team. I think that they are going to put together better football than we've seen in the first 6 weeks. I think that they've had a myriad issues that sort of make their offense look worse than it actually is. If they are able to move the football, they're just not putting it into the end zone. So their red zone issues are enormous. If they can solve a few of those things, it could go a long way. And I like how it sets up schedule-wise. The only offense that really worries me is Maryland. There's nobody else of the 6 teams they play that I think can just run away from Nebraska without help from their own offense, just turning the ball over and leaving them in tough positions. There's no quarterback on this schedule outside of Talia Tagovailoa that worries me. And so all of these things make me feel confident that we're going to see an even better version of Nebraska in the final 6 games than we did in the first 6.
Okay, so you kind of alluded to the offense then. If there's something that you think is reasonable to see improvement with this offense right now, that, I mean, just things that maybe you just need a little bit more time to reset, maybe just a little reshuffling of the deck, whatever it might be, what is an area of the offense that you think would be reasonable to expect to look better here in the second half?
This could be the whole team, but most critically, it was notable on offense last week, and we saw it previously against Michigan and at unfortunate times against Colorado and Minnesota as well. Stop the false start. Like I don't care what the rationale or the reason or why they're happening. They don't need to happen. Yeah. Like, these are veteran offensive linemen. They're veteran players with the exception of Thomas Bedoni. They've played a lot of football. I'm sure they've experienced simulated snaps before. You know what the snap count is. It's 3rd and short. You're not good enough to give away yards, and they have to stop doing that. So the single biggest emphasis I would have coming out of the Illinois game is not even ball security. It's none of those things. It's stop giving away free yards. Stop making it more difficult for yourself. Ben Scott, we love you. You're having a great year for us, etc. No more pile jumping. Just stop with it. Yeah. You can't give away these yards. You're not good enough to do it. And it's an internal thing. It's something you can control. There's a lot of things that are out of Nebraska's control that are left up to its opponents or left up, to judgmental calls by officials. False starts aren't one of those. Line up, go at the snap or at the, go at the call, but don't go before. It seems so simple, and yet that was probably the most frustrating aspect of Friday. I knew it was going to be a rock fight. You know that there's, it's not going to be aesthetically pleasing. Don't make it harder on yourself. And too often Nebraska does that with penalties, especially on offense.
Hey, who have you been more impressed by? And the amount of guys that have played have been different. But have you been more impressed by Nebraska's true freshmen or portal guys?
Oh, the true freshmen. I mean, and that's not to take anything away from some of the portal guys, because they certainly help provide depth. But I mean, like Cameron Lenhart, Prince Will, Uman Mielen, Riley Van Poppel, they all had moments against Illinois. Tua Lafotu's playing against Illinois. Those are all defensive linemen that are helping you out. You have Malachi Coleman with a catch. You're going to need some of these true freshmen to continue to lengthen out your roster in a way that maybe you weren't anticipating in August. And a lot of these guys seem ready to do it. Like, there's going to be physical defects. There's going to be some mental errors. There's going to be some gaps. But they have them in a place where they seem ready, willing to go, and you're getting solid performance from that. And so for me, and if you wanted to throw another one of these in there, the walk-on program has just been huge for Nebraska this year. I don't think we've seen a better example of what that can do for your roster when you face injury than what, Phelan Sanford and some of those guys gave us on Friday night. But the freshmen give me a lot of good feelings about what's being built here at Nebraska. I mean, we focus so much on the what's right in front of your face. If you look long-term, a lot of young guys are getting a lot of critical reps that could really help their growth and their track as Nebraska goes forward.
And staying with the freshmen, Mike, as we get closer to that 4-game window where we could see some guys that, again, it's not going to affect their eligibility, is there a name or two that you're curious to see that obviously would benefit them, but just kind of now's the time to kind of see what they can do development? Maybe it's somebody on the offensive line. Maybe it's another defensive lineman. Is there anybody in particular that maybe we haven't seen yet, but at some point we will, that you're excited to see?
Yeah, I mean, he traveled with the team. They talked about him. Vincent Carroll Jackson is going to be another one of these defensive linemen. I mean, I just can't talk enough about what they did in this defensive line class for 2023. You mentioned offensive line there, and they got me thinking, how that would sort of look. The one area of this team that largely has not been besieged by injury is up front.
Yeah.
So I don't know that we're going to see, a lot of Gunnar Gatula or Brock Knutson or Sam Sledge, but maybe one of those guys could work their way into things. But then you look at it and it's like, you got to play those receivers. They're all basically going to be out there. I'm not anticipating Quentin Ives. It seems like they've made the decision if they're going to use him, it'd be inside of a 4-game window where he's not going to burn a red shirt. So it doesn't feel like he's ready to play. So I don't know how close that one is. But beyond that, they've already had to play a lot of them.
Yeah.
There's not like there's a lot of guys that they're just hanging on to, waiting to see what they can be. I mean, maybe a Ramir Stewart, some of your defensive backs, the Sincere Sapuya, guys like that. But for the most part, if you've been able to show it in practice, they're throwing you into games. Like they don't. I think the strategy right now in college football with how the transfer portal is, you may not have the luxury of like, well, we want that extra year on the back.
Right.
You might just need to play games now. You just use it now because you don't know what they're going to look like in 2 years. You don't know who they're going to be playing for in 2 years.
Hey, so we've all done this. Okay, mid-season, let's look at the coaching staff who gets passing grades, who gets no grades, so on and so forth. And I know you have been a big fan of Terrence Knighton from the jump. Just like the guy gives off a great vibe, and we've seen his guys and the jump they've made, and he's got young guys that are coming that are getting to play. But walk me through this. I would be serious here in saying this. If Rob Dvorak walked down the street of Omaha, Nebraska, most people wouldn't know who he is. But man, his group of linebackers and what he has had to, fit here and there. Why has he been so successful with this group of linebackers? And if he hasn't, you can disagree with me.
No, he's been super successful. And honestly, it's one of those things I've overlooked, and Michael Bruntz really hammered it home during our podcast earlier this week. And it's something he wrote after the Illinois game. I mean, you think about like what he's worked with relative to Terrence Knighton. Like Terrence Knighton he had Nash Hutmacher, he had Ty Robinson. He's had to bring some of these freshmen along. Look at what Rob Dvorak's doing in the linebacker room with just a cascade of interesting pieces that fit in different ways. He's gotten the best we've ever seen out of Nick Henrich. They turned John Bullock into a guy that was on the roster to being a critical part of their defense. You're getting great performances from Javin Wright and from some of these edge guys in limited reps. I mean, so what Rob Dvorak has done, utilizing these different pieces, getting strong performances out of them, it shouldn't be overlooked. And I think up to this point, maybe it has been. And then the way Matt Rule kind of talks about him, this is someone that they seem to be grooming to potentially be Tony White's replacement. Maybe someday, if you get to that point. I mean, Rule talks about him as a future defensive coordinator. They clearly like his attitude. I know recruits like how quickly they're able to connect with him. He's a younger guy. He's a former player. He played for Rule. He understands what's going to be asked of you in these programs. I think he's a worker. Look at it this way. These were two bets that Matt Rule made in Terrence Knighton and Rob Dvorak that the average Nebraska fan is looking at it and they're like, who the hell are you?
Yeah.
What does it matter to us that they were the assistant to the coaches in Carolina? And they've both been big wins in year one. Now, will it continue to be that way? Who knows? But I think it, again, speaks to Matt Rule has his finger on the pulse of everything in this program, and that even includes who he wants, stepping into key roles as this thing goes forward.
Hey, quick.
He's aware of these things.
Hey, quickly here. Does that make what Tony White is doing even more impressive? Because the DB coach, the linebacker coach, the defensive line coach have more of a connection with Rule than Tony White.
Yeah, and it speaks to how seamless that transition has been. And Tony White talked about this a few weeks ago. He's loved it. He's come in. He's like, we've been able to share ideas. I have some ideas as to how I want things to work. Rob will tell me, hey, what about this concept? Why don't we use a linebacker like this? And he's really enjoying that environment. And I think it's a very open, no idea is a bad idea. Let's get it on the whiteboard. Let's work it out. Like it is a bunch of capital football guys getting to talk capital football on the grease board and loves it. And I think that's part of why they're thriving over there.
It's quite the thing on that side of the ball. Schaefer, enjoy the bye week. Appreciate the time as always. Have a great weekend.
All right, guys, have a good one. Enjoy the bye week as well. Wonderful weather we got here.
Yes, it is. Mike J. Schaefer on Twitter, Husker 24/7. Yeah, Rob Dvorak. You guys think you can pick him out? If I put a picture up here in the studio.
It's an astute observation.
He's very low-key guy.
Yep.
He's not super. If you watch him on the sidelines, he's not a huge energy guy.
No.
He just is. He's gotten his guys to play pretty well, and
But he's a stud.
Well, that's even because I think MJ Sherman will play a little bit more as we get into the back half because of the offenses they're going to face. But like Sherman and Borders haven't super flashed like we thought, but their ability to develop, and he's going to lose Butler. He's going to go up and play on the defensive end. I mean, not lose him, but they've just Nick Henrich, what he did Friday night in like stopping the run. I mean, like Nick Henrich was a little bit more comfortable in space. It's just they've done a really good job on that level. The one level and the guy I really like probably the most on that side is Evan Cooper. Because of more teams are throwing, their metrics are not the greatest, and they've had some busts. So he's like you're going DBs. Well, hey, you guys can play better.
Yeah.
But Terrence Knight and Rob Dvorak, man, they have hit a home run in the first 6 games. And the thing about it is they're really, really good on-field technicians, but they also have a bunch of young guys that aren't just walking out the door after this season, that they're coming back, and they've got a couple more years of eligibility left. That's huge in this program, like to put their feet on the ground and then take a step in 24 is they got guys that are learning it, and then guys will be able to pass it down next year when they're comfortable playing in their positions. And they're also got competition.
Yeah.
They got a lot of guys knocking on the door, and they also have developed freshman on freshman competition, which is huge.
And that's so one guy that we think of the 4-game window that you were extremely high on right out of the gate that I'm hoping we're going to see there in the back end, Eric Fields. And, speaking of Rob Dvorak and where they are, will we see him? Will we see him have some type of contribution and see where he is development wise?
Yeah, we will. We'll see. That'll be. It's one of the things of the storylines.
Positive Friday.
No, I think those are facts.
Yeah.
Positive, yes, but that's also facts. All right, Matt Verzal spits a lot of them. He'll join us next on Mornings with Sharp and Handley on 1620 The Zone.
Gary Sharp, Nick Handley, and Jimmy Chavez. Mornings with Sharp and Handley. Weekdays 6 to 10 on 1620 The Zone and 1620thezone.com. Mornings on 1620 The Zone is brought to you by MD West One Orthopedics, Neurosurgery, and Spine. The Connor Happer Show.
So let me tell you a couple of the things that happened to Memorial Stadium as they were building it. Rain plagued the project. At one point, there were 6 feet of water inside the stadium. 2 months before the stadium was set to open, a tornado destroyed some of the wooden forms used to pour sections of the concrete stands.
Material was picked up and moved, and in some places, the wind dipped down below the surface of the ground and picked up heavy material and tossed it about like eggshells.
I like when they compare stuff to stuff.
The Connor Happer Show, weekdays from 10 to 2 on 1620 The Zone. Your Omaha area forecast, presented by Bellevue Berry and Pumpkin Ranch, from the KETV Newswatch 7 Weather Center on 1620 The Zone.
Few spotty showers rolling through the area this morning. Some of those may linger into the afternoon as well. Our winds are going to pick up too out of the northwest at around 15 to 30 miles per hour this afternoon, keeping our temperatures down, hitting a high of around 56 degrees today. I'm meteorologist Luke Vickery, KETV Newswatch 7.
The Zone Hotline is powered by 42 Degrees. The Source. By your mom's house.
Say goodbye to summer and hello to cash loans. Let's face it, your personal banker probably won't loan you thousands of dollars today, but Saul's Jewelry and Loan will. Simply bring in your boat, camper, RV, jet ski, ATV, motorcycle, even your beautiful convertible, along with a clear title, and Saul's will loan you up to $50,000. No credit check, no hassle, and more importantly, no worries. Saul's indoor storage facility is so clean and secure, you can store your precious Harley-Davidson for the winter and pick it up next spring. So if you need a quick cash loan, Saul's is here to help.
Acura of Omaha has more than 50 new Acuras in stock and ready for immediate delivery. All models, including Integras, TLXs, RDXs, and MDXs. Get the best price in just minutes at AcuraofOmaha.com.
Later today, join the program at one of our favorite stops. It's Nebraska. Heck, it's America's best concession stand. Omaha Roncalli, just off Sorensen Parkway. Come on by, have some great food. Join the Grum today, 2 to 6, 1620 The Zone.
Prescriptions require an online consultation with a healthcare provider who will determine if appropriate. Restrictions apply. See website for details and important safety information. Subscription required. Price varies based on product and subscription plan.
Hey guys, did you know there's a generic form of Viagra that works just the same, but is 95% cheaper? And you can get it online? Just go to hims.com/radio. Through Hims, you'll get a free medical consultation, discreet shipping if prescribed, a 100% online process, and trusted generic alternatives to the name brands at up to 95% off. That's right, get generic for Viagra, the same active ingredient as brand name Viagra, but for 95% less. It's the same medication, still prescribed by a licensed medical provider, but with zero copay, no expensive appointments, and no awkward face-to-face conversations. To start your free online visit, you need to go to this exclusive address, hims.com/radio. That's hims.com/radio for your free online visit. HIMS.com/RADIO.
Duck Defense Midwest makes your home healthier and improves the life of your HVAC system. So improve the health of your home and everyone in it. Go to cleanairradio.com for a special duct cleaning offer for Zone listeners. That's cleanairradio.com.
Equitable Bank. We take banking personally. EquitableOnline.com.
And we're back. Mornings with Sharp and Handley. Here's Gary, Nick, and Jimmy on 1620 The Zone.
All right. Matt Verzal joins us now. Good morning.
Good morning, boys.
We are good. I'm glad you're good. I got a question, and I think this is going to lead to story time because I saw this picture last weekend. I don't know the story. I'm hoping you'll share it. How does Matt Verzal end up at a wedding with Barry Switzer?
Oh, man. So, the years are a little blurry, but so Benjamin Gavin Roots was a quarterback out of Putnam City West High School.
Yeah.
He was my roommate, and he ended up transferring out. And he called me, and he said, "Hey, what are you doing?" I was like, "Nothing." Because my brother Heath is marrying Barry Switzer's daughter. I was like, "Cool." And he's like, "Get down here for the wedding." And I was like, "All right, well, let's do this, I guess." And so I had read The Bootlegger's Boy and all that stuff, and so I get down there, and they had some grand concerns, not about me, but about making sure that people from the wedding party didn't go home with parents from the wedding party.
Oh,
it's about as politically correct as I can say that.
Oh.
But anyway, it was awesome because that dude is as advertised.
Yeah.
Like, it is awesome. But it was pretty cool. I got to meet him, and we were BSing, and he said, "Where are you from?" I said, "Grand Island, Nebraska." He goes, "You're one of Kenny Fisher's boys." And I was like, "Yep, I sure am." He goes, "You still run that wishbone up there?" I was like, "Yeah, we are." I said, "We're damn good at it too." And he just kind of smiled and laughed, and it was a cool experience. He did roll in though, like day of the wedding, and was a little bit late, but I think that was fully planned. And the old limo pulls up, and old Barry Switzer rolled out in the chinchilla white jacket from shoulder to toe, and it was hotter than Hades, and it was miserably hot. But he rocked that thing in there, and I mean he cut it up till the wee hours of the morning. It was pretty sweet.
So wedding Barry Switzer is exactly what you would think. He'll have a good old time, both socially and liquidly.
Just Barry Switzer in general is how you think.
Yeah.
And their little mission statement they had for the evening did not work. He showed up with company to the brunch the next day. It was awesome. It was really awesome. You just said go to a wedding, and I've never been awestruck at a wedding. I was like, man, that dude just does it how he wants to do it, and he does not care who is in the way. And it was sweet.
Does every wedding pale in comparison now that you've experienced that?
I went on a rough stretch there. I think in my lifetime, I've been in about 45 plus weddings.
Sheesh.
So they all kind of held together. But yeah, that one's near the top. The Adam True wedding is probably top 5 because his mother, may she rest in peace, she did not want me part of the ceremony because I was not Catholic, nor would I go through whatever they call that thing to become Catholic.
Oh, RCIA, yeah.
But she was going to boycott, and Adam was like, "Oh, she's pissed." I was like, "Well, she'll get over it, or I just won't come." And so then I did pull the switcheroo on that one. I was the best man, and so I made the maid of honor go first because she was a crier. And then I came up next, and I had him laughing, had him crying, and toasted him out. And still people come up to me today, they're like, "That was a really good speech." I'm like, "Thank you."
I love the strategy. She's a crier.
Matt Verzal joining us here on Mornings with Sharp and Handley. Hey, I'm going to let you brag for a little bit. Everybody knows your nephew. Hey, he had a nice fall. Yeah. He's moved to catcher, but Max, I watched him on Wednesday in the Red-White series. He looked comfortable at the plate, had a couple of hits. He had a nice fall for Nebraska. Max Butenbach, who we're talking about.
Yeah, he didn't do too bad. He didn't catch a whole bunch over the summer down in Hutch, but he's got to block a couple balls. There's a couple of those he could bail his pitcher out, but that's the Bitterman coach uncle in me. It's a cool thing to see him go through it. My sister is the certified lunatic, so I get to be kind of the voice of reason. And you're at college. You're told your whole life, listen to whatever your coach tells you, and da-da-da. I'm not saying anything bad, but everybody wants to tweak. It's like, hey, try your feet like this, do this with this, and do that with that. I was like, hey, buddy, you hit it pretty good. How you stand? Maybe just do that. And so I was like, be respectful. But no, it's cool to see him getting the opportunity to play and having fun with it. And, he's in the deep end of the pool. He's like, man, there's a lot going on. I was like, and what did your uncle tell you? Like, budget out time study and make sure you get all your practice stuff. I was like, yeah. I wasn't lying to you. I'm like, I'm not as dumb as you think I am. But pretty cool to see him go through it. And he did hit it all right. He did pretty good.
Him and Ben Columbus were sharing the duties. Hey, by the way, great pod after the Illinois game. You brought up something when you guys were graded with Milt Tenneper. And I thought you brought up something really interesting about this offensive line trying to move forward and not being maybe not necessarily grading the individual on a 0, 1, or 2, but actually not saying that Matt Rule does that, but being able to sort of rank this unit together as one unit. Can you kind of elaborate for people who maybe didn't get a chance to hear that?
Yeah, Husker Hangover is a great time. It's very therapeutic to me. When we get in a rock fight, they're kind of hard to talk about. Mm-hmm. It's like, man, what do we come up with here? Yeah. Brains start working. So the way it worked for us is we had an individual set of grades. When you went in the game, if you did everything wrong and didn't hustle, you got a 0. If you if you went to the right place but you didn't execute the block, you got a 1. If you went to the wrong place but went hard, you got a 1. And if you did everything right, you got a 2. Mm-hmm. And then you'd average the plays you had, and that was your grade, and their pancake counter and all that stuff. But I think there's times still in the game, and I'm not 100% well-versed in their scheme, but I would view that more as a unit grade now to make sure that we're getting everybody operating the play correctly. Now, I know that sounds juvenile, but it's a thing to help mold the brain to say, I may have been right in this play. I may have done great, but you can't view that as individual in the offensive line. Like, I would give them a group grade, and it would be, hey, did we all execute correctly? If we did, that's 1. You're on 1. Did we go hard? 2. Mm-hmm. Out of the 5 guys on the field, how many pancakes did we have? And I put that down. Mm-hmm. But it's a cohesive thing, because for me, as much hell as they take, they've got to insulate. Okay? Now, I'm not saying Bo Pelini insulate and tell ADs to go F themselves and all that stuff. Mm-hmm. But you just insulate where the only people you really care about are the other 5 and your coach, or your room and your coach. Okay? And that way, you make it internally inside of a team and us against the world setup. And I like those. And some people respond to them. And you kind of develop protective nature, may be the wrong term, but you want to guard your guys. You want to make it that I can't be wrong, because if I'm wrong, now I'm going to bring the team average down. Like, I'm going to bring the line average down if I'm wrong.
Yeah.
Or if I don't go hard. Or if I, whiff on a block. Now we're all in this together. And then if you average, say, you average 1.85, that everybody's doing great and everybody's going balls to the wall, then Rayola has some flexibility or some leeway. It's like, hey, here's what we can do. We get to 185 for a game, 1.9. We're going out to steak dinner because we can do that now.
Yep.
I got a booster that's willing to pay for it. We'll NIL that bad boy. Or we'll go to somebody's house and we'll grill a bunch of them. But you make it so the camaraderie is contagious. Everybody wants to be a part of it. But it also puts pressure on the younger guys when they get in the game, because now they've factored in.
Yep.
I know I can't screw this up. I've got to be in my playbook. I've got to know what's going on all the time. I've got to watch the game. It was like, I played in 31 games. It was awesome. It really was. But I learned so much standing and watching. It was incredible. But then once it clicks with you, okay, they're doing this, this, and this. So if I get in there, I have to do this, that, and the other. And that kind of focus on it isn't something that's really prevalent these days, high school or, sometimes in college. But it's got to start to consume them, and they've got to start to get mad when their buddies are being talked poorly of. If you'd see them in a presser, and they would tell whomever it is and honestly, just get in trouble. Just tell that guy who said bad stuff about your buddy, go F yourself. You've never put on a jock. You've never played this game. You don't know. But if you want to come out to practice, we'll get you one, and you can try. But, getting that insulated, kind of defensive, pissed off mode would be cool to see.
It would. Vers, we appreciate it. Good luck to your Skyhawks tonight. Huge game, Scott and Plattsmouth.
Man, there's a lot of big ones tonight.
Hey, yeah, I saw you wearing a Millard South T-shirt. That'll go over well with our mutual friend, who his team plays that team tonight.
I didn't wear a Millard South shirt.
Somebody sent me a picture that you were wearing a Millard South shirt.
That might have been a Millard West shirt. I lost a bet to Jamel's kid when he worked here for long.
Okay. All right. Well, that game is huge. And then there are not only your game, which is big time tonight, but also Elkhorn North and Bennington play.
Yeah. Hey, if you come over to Moylan, number 44, number 61, and number 73 for Plasma, they can play. 44 is a machine, and he is about, I don't know his name, he's just 44, but he is about that life. Like, it's like old boy that played for the Raiders that had the 2 interceptions and the super dark visor.
Yeah.
You want to try to go A-gap, he will greet you in the A-gap gladly. He will be waiting there for you. He's my kind of guy. He's fun to watch.
It should be a great game tonight. Good luck tonight, and have a great weekend.
Where are you going?
We have Elkhorn North Bennington.
Oh, do you? Nice. That's going to be a good game.
Yep. I saw
Everybody healthy for Elk North?
Yes. Yes, they are.
Okay. All the big guys are back?
All the big guys are back. I'm a big fan of Sam Thomas.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Good.
Yeah.
He's got that blessing that nobody can coach. He's got all the sides.
Yep. He does.
Now you've been given the God-given gifts. Now what are you going to do with them?
Yep. Exactly. Vers, thank you.
Bye, boys.
That's Matt Versal. Follow him on Twitter at Vers51. You can see a picture of him and Barry Switzer at Switzer's daughter's wedding.
Yeah, that story, that might be an all-timer for the year.
Do you think Barry Switzer tells stories about seeing Matt Versal at a wedding too?
I don't know. So I have been, I've never really ever met Coach Switzer, but I've been at a couple of things with him. He does, I don't know that he remembers names that well unless you were like around Oklahoma.
Yeah.
But I've seen him at a couple of things in Nebraska. He does recognize people.
Mm-hmm.
There's a guy that if he wasn't coaching Oklahoma, he would have come to Nebraska. I mean, he loves Nebraska.
He was one of the
still kicking it, man. He's still Barry Switzer.
Guy I worked with was the general manager of one of the Oklahoma radio stations that was the flagship for OU football, and so knew Barry Switzer really well. Got us in touch before the reunion and the OU Nebraska game in Norman 2 years ago, and just texting back and forth with him, and he would respond to texts immediately, and we were trying to work out a time to be able to talk with him. And for a guy that I'm texting Barry Switzer, and he's actually getting right back to me. That to me was really cool too. And he did end up coming on. He always seemed to be very appreciative of, I think, just Nebraska football, but also the people that are kind of involved with it. I agree. I think he's someone that,
he loves Nebraska.
He does. I think his actions definitely show that.
All right, we'll take a break. We'll come back. Some final thoughts. We'll send you into the weekend. Again, we're going to high school football tonight. Omaha West Side, Millard South. That's going to be a charged up atmosphere. Very, very charged up atmosphere. Do not poke the bear that is number 1 in Class A. That's all I got to say.
Mess the bull and you get the horns.
But I'll be curious to see how Millard South matches up against them. I mean, Millard South's got some weapons, but that game will. There's a lot of back and forth going on in that game. And then Elkhorn North Bennington will be a fantastic game. Bennington's won 33 in a row. I mean, that's Cam's got such a great program, and they're good. People are going, well, they're not as good as they were. They're good. Okay, they're maybe not just crushing teams, but they're good. And that'll be a fantastic game. So weather conditions will be, I saw at 7 o'clock, the wind gusts will be up to 40 miles an hour. No, what do you say? Yeah, you'll be indoors. You'll be at Baxter Arena.
I will, but I'm just saying, hey, little would you rather have the wind or the rain? That looks like we're avoiding.
A lot of people will say they'd rather have the rain than
the way that it's gone this year.
The game that you're doing
on my Thursday and Friday night TV, I just want a close game. Okay. Don't need a running clock. But yeah, if you it'll be over on Cox tonight if you'd like to watch that game, or yourview.com. It's for free. You can stream it.
Hi-oh.
For Elkhorn North and Bennington, and they're always great hosts out there. I like going out there. So John Schreiner and yours truly. Nick will be rinkside for the weekend at Baxter Arena, and Jimmy will be in the comforts of his own home betting on football.
Yep. It's his newfound passion.
Yeah. He said we'll get you betting on games soon enough. It only took a year.
I did. I like here. This is what you guys need to do. You need to start gambling more.
And then Jimmy's going to show up one day, just like every time a phone rings. Okay.
Now I go back and I listen to Lee Sterling and then Brian and be like, all right, do they check out?
Where do they agree? Where do they disagree?
Mornings with Sharp and Handley on 1620 The Zone.
Mornings with Sharp and Handley on 1620 The Zone and 1620thezone.com with Gary Sharp and Nick Handley.
Many people go back to the dealership out of habit or because they think the dealer is the only one who knows how to fix their car. At Omaha Car Care, we offer a better option. We have ASE certified technicians, the technology to service any vehicle, and free loaner cars. The dealer will sell you a package of services. We'll provide the service you want for your car as your trusted partner. I'm Rick Betker, owner of Omaha Car Care, and we'll be along for the ride.
I was crossing the street when I met the love of my life. I chased after her. Nothing would stand in my way. Not the dog walker, nor the hot dog vendor. Finally reaching her, I asked, "What do you call that amazing smell?"
It's Gain Flings.
Gain Flings. My love had a name, but more importantly, it had a scent.
Fall in love with Gain Flings. Seriously good scent. Gain Flings with 50% more freshness ingredients versus leading bargain detergent.
Standard Heating and Air Conditioning is and has always been locally owned and operated. Now, with 160 employee owners, chances are one of us lives in your neighborhood. We take pride in taking care of you, our customers, and keeping you comfortable all year round. And as always, our technicians don't have sales quotas. When other companies send salespeople, Standard sends qualified technicians. It's just part of.
Carrier, turn to the experts.
Don't miss this week's Zone Deal.
This week's deal is from Scary Acres, voted the #1 best haunt in Omaha by Best of Omaha since 2019 and #1 best haunt in Omaha by the Omaha Choice Awards. This deal includes 2 super combo passes to get you into all 3 attractions for just $30. Scary Acres, 172nd and Giles. Pay just $30 for 2 super combo passes this Friday at 9 a.m.
Zone deals go fast. 9 a.m. Friday, 1620thezone.com.
Hey, did you know Vistaprint prints everything a small business needs? Like if a barbershop needs signage, we print outdoor signs, posters, and banners. Or if a ballet school needs merch,
1, 2,
we print tote bags, t-shirts, hoodies, hats. Or if a coffee shop needs a total refresh,
latte for Mike.
Vistaprint designs logos and prints it on menus, mugs, paper bags, anything. Because with Vistaprint, the printabilities are endless. Print it all with 25% off for new customers with code NEW25 at Vistaprint.com.
PACE, Police Athletics for Community Engagement Organization, is dedicated to preventing at-risk and disadvantaged inner-city children from becoming involved in street gangs, crime, drug use, and victimization.
Flag football for ages 8 to 14 runs through October 20th, and PACE needs sponsors to help pay for refs, jerseys, and other equipment. Go to paceomaha.org to help. And thank you for your support from PACE.
Please go to paceomaha.org to support the PACE mission. Thank you.
Wesley Financial Group is not a law firm.
This story is called The Ugly Truth About Timeshare. If you think you've done your family a favor by buying a timeshare, you need my help. Hello, I'm Chuck McDowell, CEO and founder of Wesley Financial Group. 10 years ago, I started helping folks cancel their timeshare. And in the process, started what's now called the timeshare cancellation industry. Timeshare is the only thing that you can buy that you can't tell me how much it's going to cost or when it's going to end. When you buy a timeshare, you give them a blank check to fill out any amount they want for annual maintenance and assessment fees. The crazy thing is, this never ends. Even when you die, your family's now going to be stuck with this burden. Stop the insanity today. Call my office now. If we take you as a client, I guarantee we'll cancel your timeshare or you'll pay nothing.
Call for your free information kit. 800-462-3333. That's 800-462-3333. 800-462-3333.
We're going abroad for the first time in years. To Spain.
But we don't speak Spanish.
So we started using Babbel.
And started learning Spanish fast.
With Babbel, you can start having conversations in another language in just 3 weeks. Babbel's conversational method teaches you real-life words and phrases. And with Babbel's interactive bite-sized lessons, you'll remember what you learned.
¿Cómo te llamas? ¿Cómo te llamas? ¿De dónde eres?
¿De dónde eres?
When you learn a language, you want to actually use it. Babbel is designed with that goal in mind.
In just 3 weeks, we're starting to have conversations in Spanish.
Estoy muy emocionado para ir a España contigo.
Aw, he just said, I'm very excited to go to Spain with you. Nos vamos a divertir mucho.
And that means we're going to have a lot of fun.
Sí. Gracias, Babbel.
Babbel, language for life. Celebrating 10 million subscriptions sold. Now try Babbel for free at Babbel.com. Just go to Babbel.com and start learning a new language today. That's Babbel.com. Babbel.com.
And we're back. Mornings with Sharp and Handley. Here's Gary, Nick, and Jimmy on 1620 The Zone.
All right, will Nebraska football respond today? You know, they put up that GB rewind and all the speeches. Nebraska basketball said, we got Tominaga. So they released a video of 28 seconds of Tominaga yesterday cooking. Not like in his apartment.
Not actually cooking something?
Yeah, he was out on the floor cooking.
Yeah.
And people are like, oh my. So now, I don't know, the Nebraska volleyball put something out today.
Sure.
Everybody's competing.
Yeah, now it's on you. Well, now you had the fall ball sessions for both softball and baseball wrap up. And by the way, besides Ben Butenbach, Dylan Carey had a hell of a fall as well.
Drew Christo did as well.
Looked okay.
Hey,
Yep.
you know who also had a good fall? Creighton. Ed, you know, I wondered if they were going to support Ed at the end of last season.
Yep.
Ed supported himself. Creighton could have something special cooking for baseball in 2024. They got a really good team. They had a really, really good fall. Busy sports weekend all around the area. Whether you're doing the youth, whether you're doing the high school, whether you're doing the college. We got a lot of volleyball. All three are in action. So enjoy all of that. Enjoy the weekend off from football. You get USC, Notre Dame. You get Oregon, Washington. Of course, we all get Wisconsin and Iowa playing.
Don't we?
Yeah, have the family gather around the TV to watch that one.
Hey,
my day is kind of revolving around that because that'll lead up to right around the time I got to leave for Baxter tomorrow night. So I'm gonna that'll be my little relaxation before the hockey game is watching that amazing football matchup.
I mean, man, if Wisconsin wins that game, I think you book a hotel room in Indy.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
13-9.
And then we'll be off to Northwestern week next week. Next Friday, the next 2 Fridays, we'll be back on the road at our favorite Hy-Vees, 132nd Dodge next Friday.
Mm-hmm.
Have a good call. You got anything new going on there at Baxter?
You mentioned the reunion of the wrestling program and its many successes.
Videos, music.
I don't know. See,
shows.
So they
don't let you know.
They don't. I'm always.
Shouldn't you get the script like days before? You're a
Gary,
vet, man.
The last time I got a script in advance was it was definitely pre-COVID. It was at least 6 years ago that I actually got one in advance. Now I feel like if I really wanted one, I could have gotten one, but a lot of the the Adidas and stuff, those are the same reads.
Yeah, they are.
There's a lot of familiarity. But yeah, usually as far as the new, I'm always excited to see the new tunnel walk and the new entrance video on how they're going to do that. But I don't usually get to see those until the game, at least as of late. Now, when Phil Manley worked there and stuff, I get a chance to go up there and take a look. And they were always really proud of how they did it. So they'd always want to bounce it off people they knew. Again, it's a lot of new faces,
good.
Man.
We had
a lot of new faces.
We had quite a few former Omaha video guys on our television crew last night. Yeah, it was good to see.
Is Packer up and up?
Oh, no, not Jeff. No,
okay.
No. Jeff's at home. He's taking care of the kids.
Well, there was a time
he has a fancy job where he has to wear nice clothes.
When you had Phil and Packer and the whole crew, man, those guys were Lyle. They were amazing.
Yep. All right. Have a good weekend. If you're going to the game when Nick tells you there is 1 minute remaining.
And I hope that the wind gusts. Thank you. Then you're welcome. I hope the wind gusts do not affect you tonight.
Have a great weekend, everybody. Jimmy, good luck to your baseball team on Sunday.
Yes. Good luck to them indeed.
We will be full into Northwestern week. Don't poo-poo it. Big week next week for Nebraska football. For Jimmy, for Nick, I'm Gary. Live, laugh, love, and punt. Have a great weekend, everybody. We're back in on Monday at 6 on Mornings with Sharp and Handley on 1620 The Zone.